So reality shows were really popular back then. This is, Survivor and Fear Factor. And there's all these reality shows, and Big Brother. And so they had this reality show that people are watching with fighters. And then they have the finale. And in the finale, Forrest Griffin fights Stephen Bonner, and it's such a crazy fight that people are just telling their friends. The ratings were going up as the fight went on. And, the Fertittas, the people that owned the UFC before this current company, they were in the hole, $40 million. And they just kept losing money, and they said, listen, this is the last. They were going to sell the UFC at one point in time. And then they got to this point where they're like, look, let's just try this one more thing. Let's just try this one more thing. And they did this reality show, and the reality show worked. And then 2005, and then they had Chuck Liddell. And Chuck Liddell was the perfect poster boy for this new cage fighting thing. This fucking maniac with a mohawk and a tattoo on his head, and he's just crushing everybody. He was the perfect guy because the fights were so exciting, and he had this insane style, this insane, almost like Michael Chandler style, but better.
Entertaining style.
Very, very entertaining. Just warrior.
He was a good boxer.
Good striker.
Fast hands.
Yeah, fast hands, vicious knockout power, and he was a wrestler, but he didn't wrestle anybody.
He was a heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, yeah. Big guy.
Okay.
Light heavyweight. Big guy, KOs people with one punch, and, it was perfect for the sport. Because he was so exciting, and he looked the part. He was like a maniac, and after he'd win, he'd go and run around the cage. It was so exciting.
So exciting.
He was the poster boy. He was the guy. He was the guy that put the sport on the map because people would watch him and go, Jesus.
Yeah, that timeline of MMA was so fun.
It was
with
fun.
Rampage Jackson also.
Oh yeah, and then when Rampage KO'd him, he became the man, and and then John Jones comes along. Whew. It's like the sport. That's what's crazy about John, right? John's been dominant now for 15, 16 years.
Yeah,
that's nuts, man.
That's why I say
he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
I don't know how they put him as the number one pound.
It's just because he doesn't fight as often as Islam. Islam's defended his title more recently, more often against top flight competition, whereas John is, John takes a year off here, a year off there. But when you look at the overall record, the overall career, he's the greatest of all time. But when I talk about just technique, you gotta think about Mighty Mouse too, man. Mighty Mouse in his prime was a bad motherfucker, man. He would do shit to guys like when he suplexed Ray Borg and caught him on an armbar in the middle of the air and finished him. You don't think so? I see your face. I see your face.
No. It's not like, I don't know. I never was a big fan of him.
No? I think in
first
his
of all,
prime,
when you call yourself a Mickey Mouse,
Mighty
Mouse. So I always thought that he was a Mickey Mouse. I'm like, bro, how the fuck you calling yourself a Mickey Mouse?
No.
He was a good fighter. He was a very technical fighter. He dominated the whole division. How many times he defended his belt?
Many times.
14 times.
Many times.
12.
He fucked a lot of people up. But then there's an issue where the quality of the competition in the 125-pound division back then was not at the level that it is now. Like Pantoja, he's a bad motherfucker. I would have loved to see Alexandre Pantoja versus Mighty Mouse in their prime. Pantoja's a fucking animal, man. That guy's a fucking animal.
There's a guy coming up at 125. He fought in the last pay-per-view in London. His last name is Kawana in 125. He's going to be a problem in that division. He's a very skillful fighter.
Well, I think like all weight classes, now you have the best fighters of all time. Because we see guys from the Dana White Contender Series now that are coming along that enter into the UFC for their first fight. And you see these guys like, Jesus Christ, this guy looks like he has 15 pro fights in the UFC. They look elite,
That's a cool program also, a Dana White Contender Series. That's something cool because they have some story behind them before they get to the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, and actually they make a good matchmaking also for that fight. I like to see sometimes Dana White Contender Series all within some fight nights.
Yeah, you get to see guys. Well, that's where we found Sugar Sean O'Malley. You get to see guys. I prefer that to the Ultimate Fighter Because I don't want to watch all the in-the-house bullshit and all the games that they play. I don't care about all that. I don't care. I just want to see them fight.
Not anymore. But
Yeah.
before it was very entertaining.
In the beginning, yeah, in the
beginning.
early days. But I mean, now they're on like season 2000. Like, there's been so many seasons. Like, I can't even keep track. I forget who won. You know, there's so many
That's true.
seasons. But my point is that the caliber of new guys when they're just entering, like Mauricio Ruffi, perfect example.
Yeah.
You see this guy, first fight
He's
in the
fighting
UFC.
lightweight, right?
Yeah, he's fucking huge. You see this guy first fight in the UFC, you're like, whoa, this guy is elite already. You know, same thing with Jean Silva, elite already. Like these guys, they're entering into the sport at a very, Carlos Prates, same thing, like right away. Like you're seeing like a very high level right away. And I just think that because there's so many guys like you to watch, there's so many guys like, you know, Hamzat and all these people, you get to see elite talent. So these young fighters that are coming up, they have a higher level a higher level to aspire to.
That's true. Now, like, the sport is growing. The talents are better than before.
Yeah.
Because the sport has developed so much that right now you have so much experience. You can learn so much about the game, like even in YouTube. You go on YouTube, you can learn everything by yourself.
I think in the future, guys like you will be everywhere. There will be only guys like you at world championship level. I don't think there'll be any specialists anymore. I think there'll be guys who are elite everywhere.
Everywhere. This is what I was saying like all the time. Now it's time for the new generation. What's the new generation? That if you wanna be the best, you have to be the best in everywhere that the fight takes the place. In the ground, in the wrestling, in the striking, you have to be good everywhere because that's how the sport is developing right now. Because before you were good only in wrestling, you would take people down and no problem. You could become a world champion. But right now, so tough. The competition all the time is higher and higher and higher, and there's more knowledge in the sport.
Yeah, there really is. It's very inspiring and it's very interesting because there's no other sport where you could go back and look at it from 1993 to 2025 and it's almost like a completely different sport. The athletes are so much better than they were. I mean, even from like 2000. Go back to 2000 and watch the sport and then watch it today, at least in the UFC.
It changed a lot, everything. Even
Everything.
the production.
Oh yeah, everything. Everything.
Changed everything.
Yeah, I mean it's so interesting because it's the one sport also that translates. It translates to all languages. Like everybody understands it.
But UK is so special that because you saw the sport growing since nothing. You saw so many great fights in front of you.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, man.
Yeah, that's.
I feel very
Well,
fortunate.
what about you? Like, do you have a plan where you want to retire, or you are just enjoying and you love what you're doing? Because I think that's it. I don't know. You are enjoying a lot.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. I don't think about retiring.
Yeah.
No. If Dana White quits, I might quit. But that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually in my contract.
No.
Yeah, if he leaves, I would. Yeah, so in my contract, if he leaves, I don't have to stay.
Why that? Something
I
personal.
wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my friend. He talked me into doing it. I mean, I started working for the UFC before him. I started working for the UFC in 1997 when it was nothing. Nobody was watching. We did it at a small, like a high school auditorium in Dothan, Alabama. You had to take a propeller plane to get there. Like, this fucking scary ass planes. And that was the first time Vitor fought.
Okay.
I was actually training at the same gym as Vitor when Vitor made his debut. Vitor was 19 years old. And we were at Carlson Gracie's.
Start very young.
Yeah. We were at Carlson Gracie's gym in Hollywood, California. That's where I was training. I just, dumb luck, I was a white belt. I just started.
So you, how old you were when you started like training, or you had some relationship with the sport?
Well, jiu-jitsu. Well, martial arts, I started when I was 15. Well, I started when I was 14, but really seriously when I was 15. And then I competed in Taekwondo from 15 to 21. And then I kickboxed until I was 22. And then I was doing comedy at the same time. And then I realized I
But
was half in, half
something
out.
crazy about you is when I hear you explaining some positions, I'm like, this guy has to know how to fight, how to do it, because the way he is explaining it, I couldn't be able to explain it, and I'm a world champion. I know the game, but you explain it like way better than anyone else. I think that you put 10 world champions together, you still explain it much better than all of us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I learned how to explain it because I learned how to teach people that didn't know what was happening once it went to the ground, right? Because in the beginning, nobody understood the ground game.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so when it goes to the ground, I can explain what's happening.
Very specific.
Yes.
You are very
Well, you have to
specific.
be specific because some people don't know. Like sometimes I'll be watching with my wife at home. Like we watch fights that I'm not calling, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'd be like, "His right arm is in trouble right now. Like, see where his elbow is? Now, if he can get his elbow past this point, he's fucked." I'm like, "Okay, now he's fucked." And then I would explain it, and I would say, "Now, what he's going to do? He's going to take his right leg. He's going to wrap it over the top. Oh, he's got it. Oh, he's got it. Okay, he's going to cinch the left leg over the top. That's it. That's it. He's fucked."
You're the best.
Yeah, but you can't
You live
fake
it.
passion.
Yeah.
Either you love it or you don't love it. And if you don't love it, you can't pretend. It won't work. No one's gonna believe you. Like if you're just a regular sports guy, say like you call hockey and they hire you, you're gonna learn about MMA and you're gonna call MMA. Come on. You're not gonna be able to do it right.
Of course.
Because you gotta do it like if I was calling hockey, I'm like, yay, the fucking puck went in the net. Woo. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if the puck goes in the net. It doesn't mean anything to me. But when someone gets your fucking neck, fucking shit, and you see the guy's gonna tap, he's tapping. That to me is life. That's everything. That is like, it's not just winning. You're not just winning. You killed that guy.
We can say that. I
Yes.
promise you. We can see your passion
Yeah.
every time.
Because this is what I read. I don't want to get sued by Leslie whoever. But I think she said, what I read, do you think the captors didn't feed you because they ran out of food?
That's a crazy thing to say to someone who's a hostage.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
she's
crazy.
on fucking 60 Minutes, a journal. How do you say something like that? To her?
That's a crazy thing to say. But they're bad. The problem with these 60 Minutes journalists is the same problem with what they did with the Kamala Harris interview, where they took a bumbling answer and edited it out and put an answer that she gave to something else in its place to make it look like she gave succinct, clear-cut answers. It's not really journalism. They're not doing journal. That's not a question you say to a hostage. When you're talking to a hostage, you want to find out what the experience was like in as compassionate a way as you can to talk to this person who's been through hell. You don't ask them, do you ever think that maybe they didn't feed you because they didn't have any food themselves? Well, here you go. Look at what their face looks like, and look at the sunken in faces of the starving to death hostages. And well, obviously they didn't give them any food, so shut up.
You can't watch the news. You can't because you're going to go.
It's not news anymore.
Well, it's
not.
It's clickbait and it's fucking.
It's a business, and it's a shitty business. It's not good at doing what it does, and it's all bought and paid for by pharmaceutical drug ads, and it's just not the news. It's not. You get some information that you can learn, but it's not like the unbiased, this is what happened, this is what caused it, this is what's being done now. It's not that. It's like halfway, they're kind of almost activists.
I had an argument with somebody close to me because I go on Gutfeld. I try to go on once a month, like I said. And she says, "Oh, you're pro-Trump." I go, "I'm not pro anything or anti anything." I go on. Where else is a comic going to sit for an hour, try to be funny?
On TV?
Yeah, on TV for an hour.
There's not
be
much
funny.
left.
There's not, and it's definitely not going to be on the left because they're not going to let me say the things that I get away on the Gutfeld show. And it's a great show. I mean, it's if you say something funny, they laugh. It's to me the closest to Tough Crowd.
Right.
To me.
I see what you're saying.
And
not quite,
so,
but I know.
not quite, but it's. I mean, it's fun, and it gets whatever views. And I said to this person, "You worked with the pharmaceutical companies for 30 years, and you're going to tell
Did
me,
they really?
yeah, and you're going to go on your high horse about me doing a show that's going to help my career and build numbers." And, well, it's not the same. No, it's worse.
Way
It's worse.
It's way worse.
It's
The
worse.
pharmaceutical drug companies are responsible for who knows how many deaths.
It's-
Yeah, they do good too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Some pharmaceutical drugs are great, but you can't be on your high horse. You work for them. That's crazy.
It's,
In any other business, they'd be in jail.
they would,
They'd be fucking jail.
jail.
If
They
you
would-
lied about what your product does and it kills a bunch of people, you're in jail.
Can we talk about one of the reasons I'm here? I don't know if you remember this. I hope you do. I had this torn rotator cuff, and you said, come down.
Yeah, we're gonna get you some stem cells.
Now, what's the BPC?
BPC 157.
Is that better? Which is better for it, the stem cells or the BPC?
There's no one better. They're all very good. BPC 157 it's called body protection compound 157. It's a peptide that helps heal soft tissue damage. So do stem cells. All those different things are good.
Because I'm not getting my shoulders operated on. It's like a 6 month.
It's rough.
And it doesn't always work.
So what exactly is wrong with your shoulder?
Well, this is a torn rotator cuff right
Okay.
here. I even brought the disc, the X-ray.
Oh, great. Did you do any exercises for it? Did you do any rehabs for it?
Not yet, because I was waiting to do this to see where this took me
Oh,
and
okay.
then how I would go from there.
But
You know what I mean?
exercises are always good, like bands, like band
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
these kind of things where you keep like a towel pressed to your
Yeah.
body so you're holding it in place and do these like rotations with bands. All those things are good just to keep everything strong anyway. Do you do any of that stuff?
Not those yet. I
You ever
haven't. I
hang?
tried.
You ever hang from the chin up on? You do this?
No, for a torn rotator.
Yeah, just to strengthen and to release some pressure in your shoulders. You
Oh,
ever do any of
really?
that? Yeah.
No, I
It's
couldn't.
good. It's good for shoulder health in general to hang from a chin-up bar. And if you can't hang, what you do is like get on a box or something that brings you to the height of the bar.
Yeah.
And just hang a little. Just get some weight on it until you can hang fully.
I mean, look, I could still play golf. I could swing like this.
That's good.
But
So
this
that's not
hurts.
totally fucked. Okay.
So
Well,
when I went to the doctor,
there's a lot of things you can do. Rehabilitation
Yeah.
things you can do that'll help you. But-
here's the only thing, and I could be wrong. You'll know. When they said, you know, rehab to build up the muscle, but I'm 67. How much more muscle am I building?
If you're
up?
167, you can build muscle. That's
Yes?
that's a silly way to look at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
100% if you're alive.
Yes.
And that means your body's recovering.
Yeah.
So that means your body's generating tissue. That means you can build muscle. Okay? If you can go play golf, you can build muscle.
Yes.
100%. If you're 80 fucking years old and a woman, you can build muscle.
I mean, I work out still. I just certain exercises I can't do.
Yeah, just you need to
Yeah.
do exercises that rehabilitate your shoulder.
Yeah.
You can't just expect it to get better on its own. You're going to have to put it through some work to strengthen the muscles around it.
Well, I'm gonna, like I said, after I do
Okay.
this,
When are you
I'm gonna
leaving?
go
When are you flying out?
Wednesday.
Okay, great. So we'll get you in tomorrow morning. No worries.
Cool.
Get you into Wastewell, and we'll set it up.
Did I bring the show to a dead halt with my map?
No.
I thought it was
No,
a
we're
good
fine.
conversation.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good map.
You know, it was. I got more stuff. I didn't want to. Listen, I printed out a bunch of stuff. I don't want to go back and have my fucking dumb Jew friends going, "Hey, you didn't bring anything
Oh, is
up."
that what they do?
Yes.
Well, stop
Like-
talking to them.
Then my wife, don't say anything stupid.
Is that what she
Then-
said?
Yeah.
Too
She goes.
Sorry, Bonnie.
You know, be funny. That's what you're
you
coming. And
did that.
I was pretty funny. I
doing
gotta
fine.
say, listen, I'm a good interview.
You're fine. You're doing fine.
You know what? Our the best, not your best. What a great show would be.
What?
Me, Colin, and Norton in here.
Oh, that'd be
smashing
phenomenal. That'd be phenomenal. Just like tough crowd.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't do it today unless you did it on the internet, but you can still
Yeah.
do it on the internet. Like Colin should really bring it back.
I know.
There's plenty of guys that could still do it. Like Norton would be fucking phenomenal at it.
We just did Norton's podcast. Me, Colin, and Norton. Whatever podcast. He's got 12 of them. And it was one of the most funniest things when it comes out you'll ever hear. Us three together, it's like
It's like you get back in the old groove again. You know?
It's yeah, because we're
The old
just
Opie
there
and
to
Anthony
have
groove.
fun.
Yeah.
We're there to have fun.
Yeah.
And
Tough Crowd and Opie and Anthony were huge for comedy. Huge.
they,
Because Opie and Anthony, one of the things that they did that was brilliant is they just let us just go wild. just
Dude.
be ourselves. They didn't really try to control it at all. You know, Anthony would jump in with some funny shit, but the whole show was like, bring on a bunch of comics,
Yes.
have them talk a bunch of shit, give them the reins.
I was in there one day. Anthony was eating a piece of cake. I walked by him and smacked it out of his hand. he laughed as hard as anybody on the planet because the times we had in there. I was on there with.
Were you with me when they brought in Marion Barry? Were you?
No.
You weren't there? You weren't there?
Marion Barry.
Marion Barry, the fucking the
mayor
the
from-
mayor of Washington D.C. They got arrested for
No.
smoking crack.
No, you were in there with him.
Yes.
Oh, that had to be
We
a blast.
grabbed him. We grabbed. I thought you were in there. Norton was in there for sure. He was next door doing something and doing another interview, and he was in the hallway. And I think Opie said, Marion Barry's in the hallway right now. I'm like, let's go get him. And we got him. We brought him in, and I started asking him about crack. He's like, well, nobody knows what was in that pipe. I'm like, well, you know.
You know.
You fucking know. What were you smoking that wasn't crack? That's almost crazier.
You know, oh, really? You smoke tobacco out of a glass pipe?
One of my favorites is when he was running for re-election, which he eventually won after he got out of jail. They asked these people, do you have a problem with the fact that the mayor used to smoke crack? They interviewed this guy on the street. He goes, oh, everybody smoke a little crack every now and then. I was like, oh, this conversation's over. This conversation's over.
I remember the times, and I was in there one time. Pete Rose, Bobby Kelly, Ricky Gervais, right? And fucking Pete Rose called me. He goes, you look like some rat-faced soccer player. Whatever he said, it was very funny. Whatever Pete Rose said was very fucking funny. So I walk over to Bobby. Then I walk past Bobby, and I walk past Pete Rose, and I sit down, and Pete Rose says, why are you out of breath? I go, because I had to walk around you two, you fat fucks, right? And Gervais thought, but you could say anything you wanted on that show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because I never went on it until it went to XM. You know, I was never on it when they were on terrestrial radio. When they got kicked off terrestrial radio, and then they got on XM. And when they were on XM, it was wild. It was like the first time. It was like there was Howard when Howard got on XM or Sirius, I guess, first before they merged, and then the O&A show was on XM. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. This is crazy. This was like this is basically green room talk. Green room talk for the whole world.
well, okay, so I brought Patrice into O&A.
Did you really?
Yeah, I brought him in.
Wow.
He fucking smashed me the day I walked him in. Because we went to the back. We went through this way. He goes, what do you think this is, Goodfellas? You walked me through the back. You couldn't take me through the front door. So he became a fixture.
Yeah.
So one day we're in fucking O&A. And I'm driving this little Porsche Boxster. He's driving this big Escalade. Because, you know, he's a fucking, you know, buffet molester. And he's in this. So he's saying, he's trashing one of my Rolexes going, you're a fucking selfish douchebag driving a Porsche. To me, going, yeah, so you can't have people, you know, and I'm not thinking, well, maybe if you didn't eat fucking pound cake or whatever, you wouldn't eat a big S. But he's beat me down bad. I mean, fucking killing me. I'm speechless, right? Speechless. He's fucking just pounding me. And I walk out of there, fuck. So the next day or 2 days later, I go online, and he's trashing my car. I look at the price of my car, new, and the price of his car, and I send it to him. I go, look, my shitty car costs more than your car, new. And he calls me and goes, you're still thinking about this? He goes, really?
You're thinking about it right now.
Yes.
Still, to this day, you're arguing with him.
No, I'm not.
I should have.
No. I would drive him home. One night I was driving him back to Jersey City. Like I in the bathroom, and we're walking up to his house, and he says, "Oh man, I don't have a manager, agent. Nothing's going on." I go, "I can't get work." just both started cracking up and walking. It was the funniest thing. We were reading for the head of a sitcom for ABC, me and Patrice. We were going to be the leads of this sitcom. So we go into the head of casting at Marcy Phillips, and he doesn't want to be there, and I can't act. So basically, I'm not good, and at the time. So he won't take his face out of the fucking copy. And I'm trying to...
But in my last training camps, because he made my diet more fun, you know. I didn't have to repeat the food all the time, because when I was in charge of that, just imagine what I was eating. All the time the same. All the time the same.
Just the same boring food, just
the
get
same
through the
boring
month.
food, because I didn't even have like the opportunities that I have right now. Right now I have a chef, I set up my home with everything. Everything is so comfortable, but before I had to cook for myself, go to the supermarket, doing everything by myself, and it was tough.
So all the food's weighed out, all the calories are measured, everything's very systematic. So with this extra 10 pounds, how much better do you think you'll be able to perform inside the octagon? Because I would imagine physically that's got to take a toll on you. As good as your performances were, and they were spectacular, but as good as your performances were, your body could not have been operating at 100%.
100%. You are gonna see me at 155 that I'm gonna touch someone and I'm gonna take his lights off. Even if I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class. So powerful, so stable on the ground. Like, you wanna wrestle, let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
Do you think that a lot of fighters maybe diminish their potential by competing at a lower weight class for too long?
It depends. It depends. Some of them yes, some of them no. Because I think there are guys fighting in 145 that they could fight in 135 because they are smaller.
Like Jose Aldo.
Like
right?
Jose Aldo.
I mean, he was one of the best ever at 145 and really looks fantastic now at 135.
Exactly.
And says this is the first time at 35 in his career that he's ever taken nutrition seriously and had a
But at the same time, he was a world champion.
right,
For so
one
long.
of the best.
And one of the best. May he would cut the weight at 135 and he wouldn't succeed at this level.
Right, 'cause he wouldn't have the energy. But Jose Aldo was big at 145 back in the day. He would struggle to make 145 earlier in his career, but I just think he wasn't doing it the right way, like you're doing. You know, I think athletes of today are much more systematic about
And
it.
they have more information about the nutrition. We got more help from the Performance Institute.
The UFC performances too is incredible. When I remember when they first opened it, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, who's going to use this? What is the big deal? And then I went there. I'm like, oh, no, all the crazy. This is amazing.
Without them, you wouldn't see many of the fights that we have seen. A lot of people would miss the weight. A lot of people.
Yeah. So at 155, you're going to be able to eat more. You're going to be able to train more. You'll be able to recover better.
Much better.
Everything.
Much better. They really taking care of you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait either.
I can't wait.
I want to fight.
So, take me through like what is a typical training week like for you? How much strength and conditioning do you do? How much do you concentrate on technique? How much do you spar?
Outside or inside the training camp?
Let's go with outside the training camp first.
So outside the training camp, I try to develop my skills in every discipline. Like I try to not mix it up. I don't train MMA at all. I do boxing classes, wrestling classes. I try to learn every discipline separate.
Why do you do that?
Because when the training camp comes, I try to mix it up and polish everything that I have been able to learn till that moment. You know what I mean? Everything that worked for me in wrestling and boxing, in the places where I feel comfortable, like that's why I want to develop all the time my knowledge. I want to get better all the time. and I can get better if I only go and train MMA and I only drill the same things all the time.
Right.
My head is like getting stuck,
Right.
stuck. You know, I need to learn new techniques because I think that I have much more to learn in every discipline. Like in BJJ, you never end up learning.
Right.
All the time you learn new things, you see new things, you want to try it, and it takes some time that technique works for you and when you're rolling with someone, for example, right?
Right.
So yeah, one thing is what you know, and the other is what you do with what you know.
How do you know how much time to allocate to each specific discipline? Because something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's a never-ending journey. Like there's so many techniques. There's so many different combinations of things you could do to a human body when you're grappling.
So the thing about me is like you have to decide what kind of style do you want to have. Do you want to fight from the guard? How do you say that?
Guard.
Guard?
Yeah.
You want to pass the guard? Like there are different styles, right?
Right.
But at some point, I was like fighting all the time from the guard. I was doing like the big bolos, baby bolos, everything, because I needed to feel what the people feels when I'm passing the guard, the guard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the same thing with boxing, for example. Someone has a defensive style, someone has aggressive style but from distance, someone needs to cut the distance and work more in the body. So I don't know, it's like it's so difficult to explain it.
I know what you're saying, though. I think one of your most impressive performances was Josh Emmett. Because Josh Emmett, he's such a powerful puncher. He's such a dangerous puncher. Like everything he throws you has murder on it, everything. But you just kind of slipped and moved with everything and just systematically broke him down. But you adjusted your style for his danger. You adjusted your style for him and just dominated the fight. I think that was one of the most impressive performances because it showed how skillful you could be. Whereas, like, imagine if Michael Chandler fought Josh Emmett. It would be fucking madness. Just madness. Two dudes just trying to murder each other. Just fucking throwing haymakers. You know, but what you did was you broke down what he was doing. You found your openings. You started to get your timing. You started to figure out. You put all his movements into your computer. And then you rolled with everything. Everything he threw, you rolled with. When he had big shots, you moved with them.
All his big shots were coming with the right hand. Like he's the type of guy that ends up every combination with the right hand. So everything I had to do, it's all the time. I didn't have to exchange the punches with him. I had to let him throw me all the punches, roll his right hand, and then start with my combinations. And this is what I really did. Like I was hurting him with the calf kicks. Then I was going for my combinations and long combinations all the time. In MMA, no one works the long combinations. No one. They always used to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, but no one does 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know? And
Like the Jai Herbert fight.
exactly.
Yeah.
Usually, you're getting 2 punches, everyone blocks 2 punches, but after the second one, they put their hands down again. Then is when I go again, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. You are not waiting for that. And if I change the levels and I go in the head, in the body, half kicks, I go for the takedowns. I mix it up, you get crazy.
It's interesting that you didn't start boxing until you were 17 because you're probably the best boxer in not just the featherweight division, but you might be the best boxer in the sport in terms of your movement and then your one-punch power. Your one-punch power is pretty fucking crazy, which I think you either have or you definitely can develop it, and it definitely is dependent upon technique, but either you have power or you don't have power. So did you always notice that, like from the very beginning when you first started training?
I always have power.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
It's a God-given thing.
God-given me, 100%. I always had that power. I remember myself without much technique, but I was connecting the punches and putting guys to sleep in the training. And I wasn't that skillful guy, but I had that power.
But you were smart enough. So this is the difference between like a Josh Emmett approach and your approach. You were smart enough to realize that, okay, I've got this power, but now I need to develop laser sharp technique.
Of course. And I have to be able to find the moment. I don't have to just throw it and believe I have the power. If I connect it, I put you to sleep. No, it's not if I'm going to connect you that much. I'm going to work for that, and I'm going to find that specific moment to put your lights out. And I know with everyone, even if in 155, I know that I'm gonna be able to find that moment where I'm gonna be able to connect that one punch or two or three punches. Because sometimes it's not only one. I'm able to combine punches. You know, sometimes you think that I'm going for your head, and I'm going. My main combination is to go to the body, and I go to that with that liver shot, and that hurts also.
Oh yeah.
Little by maybe I don't knock you out, but it takes a lot of cardio from you, a lot of movement. You start doubting yourself. You getting like, wow.
Yeah.
He connects me with this punch in the chin. I'm done, and you're starting to doubt, and then the doubts kill you at the end.
Yeah.
It's like little by little, little by little.
Yeah, it's interesting how few guys really work the body well. That's one thing about Jack Della Maddalena is that he's a very good body puncher, which is one of the things that I think is very interesting about this fight with Bilal Muhammad. He's a dangerous body puncher. He's very good at mixing it up and down.
No one usually used to attack the body in the UFC. I don't know why. It's such a beautiful thing.
It is.
To go and work the body, not only the head. Everyone goes for the head, but there are also weaknesses in a human being's body, which is the body.
Especially with those little MMA gloves. You know?
Everything talks.
Yeah, and you're digging into that rib cage. But it's interesting how the sport evolves. And I think when a guy like you comes around that does mix things up so well and does have elite boxing, the next generation will also copy you. They will copy your style. You know, because like think about the calf kick. There was no calf kicks. Forever.
Yeah. I don't know when they started with the calf.
Benson Henderson.
Benson Henderson.
He was the first guy I ever saw doing it. He was doing a lot, and I remember pointing it out. Like, he wasn't doing it as effectively, where he was like crippling guys' movement, but he was doing it a lot. And then I remember when Dustin Poirier fought Jim Miller. Jim Miller almost took him out with calf kicks. Like Justin Poirier's calf was destroyed in that fight, and then Dustin Poirier became a really good calf kicker after that. And then it became ubiquitous. Everybody has to have a calf kick.
But it comes from Muay Thai, it comes from kickboxing, it comes from...
Well, it sort of does, but in Muay Thai, they don't throw it very often. It's not a common technique in kickboxing or Muay Thai, which is interesting. It's not as common as it is in MMA.
It hurts so much. It's like a jab, but for the legs. It's like a jab.
Well, it also cripples your movement, which is terrible, because you can't punch as hard, because you don't have a left leg anymore, or a right leg, depending on what's forward.
And at the same time, it distracts you a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It hurts so much.
Yeah, it hurts, it distracts you. You have to, you don't only have to think about the hands, you have to think about also about the kicks.
Well, Izzy said that when he lost to Alex Pereira, the first fight in the UFC, he said he wasn't hurt that bad with the punches. He said he couldn't move. He said his leg was so destroyed. He said my left leg was so compromised I couldn't move. And then in the second fight, when he knocked Alex out in the first round, he said my leg was fucked already. He's like, he was getting me again. He's so sneaky with that calf kick because he throws it. He's got that weird style. He just kind of throws it out there, and you don't even see it coming because he's not twisting his hips. He's not, and it's still he hits so hard that he doesn't have to turn his body weight into it, and he's still fucking you up.
And at the same time, he had that muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, if he starts with a calf kick,
Yep.
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, he said that to me. He's like, at the end of the round, I was like, oh, this motherfucker did it again. I can't believe he got me again. He's like, my leg was fucked. And then he caught him with that right hand.
What's your all-time favorite fighter to watch in the UFC?
Boy, I don't think I have one. It's
Except
just-
top five.
Well, you're in there. You're in the
Yeah.
top five.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
Most Joe. Big Red.
For real. Yeah, definitely. Wait, how could you not be? You knocked out two Hall of Famers, two of the all-time greats. Volkanovski and Max Holloway are all-time greats. Two of the greatest featherweight champions. So if you're a great featherweight champion, you're the greatest in a division that probably has, if not the most skill, there's an argument for the most skill, and I think it's 45 and 55. I think those are the two divisions that have the most skill.
Yeah.
So to be a champion at 45 or 55, you're a champion in the most skillful weight class. Like, look at 45. So many fucking killers at 45 now. Like, look at what John Silva just did to Bryce Mitchell. And he wasn't even ranked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this guy's a motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys are coming up, and they're so goddamn good. And Yair Rodriguez, you know, you got these guys that are so skillful. You got so much
I don't
talent.
know what to tell you about Jairo because I'm not a big fan of him.
Yair? No? How come?
No, I don't know. I see him. He's the type of guy that you don't even need to take him down. He goes to the ground by himself. I don't know. He's like very spectacular. The way he fights and the striking and the kicks he throws and all that. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of him. I'm fan of Volk and Max Holloway.
Well,
Actually,
you know,
they were the smartest guys that I ever faced inside the octagon. I felt that they were smart. They had that fight IQ. They know how to fight.
do you think Max Holloway made a mistake in going up to 55 and then back down to 45 again? Because he got big when he fought.
100%.
I think so.
100%.
Yeah. He looked too compromised.
But
He didn't look healthy. 45.
he gets crazy for the title shot.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, take the gold.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand it. I get it. I understand it. And that guy who was the 145-pound champion, he knew it'd be hard to make the weight, but he felt like he could do it. But the thing is, he gained so much muscle to get to 55 to fight Gaethje, and he did it over a long period of time where he really bulked up well.
But at the same time, I don't know. If he wouldn't try it, he would stay for life, like with the doubt that if
Yeah. So another one is Pereira. He just, because what he's done inside the octagon is so crazy. 2 division world champions in a short period of time, and hadn't been fighting MMA for but 3 or 4 years.
Crazy.
It was crazy. And it's also what he does when he hits people. Like what he did to, but basically what he does to everybody when he connects. I mean, his power is just different. And what he did to Jamal Hill, one left hook, boom. And Jamal Hill, who's good at taking a shot, all of a sudden he's done. You know, he's just, there's some, Yuri Prohaska, that fight, like the second fight, he's crazy. He just, like, he hits you one time. It's
That
like,
was with a head kick, right?
head kick in the second round, but dropped him with a left hook. He was basically done after the first round because it was at the buzzer. He hit him with a left hook, and then drops, and then the bell rings. And then he knocks him out with a head kick in the second round. But he's just got this crazy style that's different than anybody else's style. And he's such a specialist, such a kickboxing specialist. 2 division world champion in glory, then goes on and becomes a 2 division special. And 37, you know, he's older. He's an older guy, you know, to be fighting at such an elite level. You know, John Jones, definitely. John Jones was the greatest of all time. I mean,
And
just-
John, what do you think about? He's gonna come back. He's gonna fight Tom.
Yes, I think he'll fight Tom. I think he'll hang out. You don't think so? No? Really? Okay.
For what?
Glory. He already has the glory. He had one more glory before the lights fade.
Yeah.
I think John's a conqueror. I think
He
can't-
is.
I think he can't sit back.
He's the best of all time. No one
Yeah.
can say the
You were fucked.
Yeah.
You were fucked.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Okay. Fucking guitar. I worked Vegas once following a guy with a guitar, and I had him, and he's fucking closing with Springsteen and the bandana on his head.
you're in
I'm
trouble.
going, what the
You're in
fuck?
trouble. It's a
You know?
totally different thing.
You know,
But it's weird that that's not more popular because he used to be so effective. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why isn't there more of those acts like that out there? Because it was so effective.
well, some of them got older and went to cruise ships that do guitar.
I know, but why didn't the younger ones? How come no younger ones emerged? That's what's weird.
It is kind of weird. No impressionist either.
Very
Hardly.
few.
That do
Very few.
impressions.
Yeah,
You
very
know,
few.
and everyone that they would turn around, fix their hair, and then do their
Right,
impression. They always
right.
turned around.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right. Imagine if Jack Nicholson. Yeah,
I'd be scared to turn around and the audience left. But they turn around. There was so many. Jeff DeHart. He did Rod Sterling perfectly.
It is interesting. There's not a lot of just impressionists, right?
Yeah, Danny Stone, Randy Credico.
Yeah.
Who was very
Frank
left-wing.
Caliendo does.
Yeah. But
He's like the only one.
you don't really see him in. Well, I don't know if he's still in clubs. He does a lot.
I think he does theater.
He does. Yeah, he was on the Virus tour on the Opie and Anthony tour.
Yeah, I did it with him. Yeah.
Oh, you did the Virus tour?
Yeah, I did
I
one of
hosted every show.
Yeah, I did one of them in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the Vegas one.
That was like the
Yeah.
last time I saw Patrice.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're doing the benefit. We do it. I host it every year, and Billy closes it. We're doing it. I think in May this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's next month. Do you know the dates?
Yeah, I'll tell you
So
right.
tell everybody so they can go buy tickets. Bust out
Oh,
those
that's
glasses,
it's
Grandpa.
sold out.
Let's
These,
go.
these are dollar store glasses, okay?
Why do you buy them at the dollar store?
'Cause my good ones are at the hotel. I don't want to
Oh, you
lose
don't
them.
want to waste them.
I don't want to lose them. Yeah, I mean, I would have worn the good ones on Theo's podcast.
Jesus Christ, I'm looking at your face when you turn sideways so I can see how much magnification you got. What
Yeah.
are those? How many X you got?
250.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're
It looks like I'm seeing a double the size of your fucking look. You got stung by a bee.
listen listen to me.
So it's already sold out, so people can't buy tickets.
I'm sure it sells out every year.
It is beautiful that you guys do that every year. The Patrice benefit.
Yeah.
It's very cool. You talk about a guy that like touched so many people because he was so brilliant.
Wait, how could it be on a Sunday? The Patrice Bay. It says May 18th in my calendar. Maybe because Billy's doing 12 Angry Men. He's playing every fucking character. No, he's in Gary Glenn Ross.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and yeah, him and
Does he
Odin
copies for
Kirk.
closers? Is he that guy?
I don't.
See the yell?
Go see it. I'd rather fucking walk through Lebanon wearing a fucking yarmulke to go see that fucking angry hack. Fuck off, Billy. Shut the fuck up. Send me your stupid pro-Palestinian bullshit. Shut up.
Oh, does he have a lot of pro-Palestinian
Oh, we
stuff?
fight all the time
He
online.
sends it to you?
Well, we on text. We go
Really?
back and forth.
You and Bill Burr go back and forth about Palestine for real?
Sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm, look, I'm friends with him for years.
course.
I mean, forever.
Yeah.
Fucking Billy. Fucking.
When comedians get political and it's to the point where they distance themselves with people that don't agree with them, that to me is hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious in how stupid it is. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? This is where you're gonna fucking draw the line on some shit that barely affects your personal life.
I've not. Any of my friends that are like that, I'm still friends with them. I don't agree with a lot of the shit. They're stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Exactly.
one or two people I think say really vile stuff, and I just mute them. I don't deal with them. They're not friends.
Right.
I mean, shit, me and Norton don't agree on everything,
How can you?
I mean, his fucking...
How can you agree on everything?
His wife is so much hotter than my wife.
She got a better dick.
She was the best man at his wedding. Fucking Norton is so quick and funny. He was the best man at my wedding. He's so fucking funny.
He's great on
No,
Phil Tony.
I'll
Oh
tell
my
you.
god, he's one of the best guests.
I'm in. You know who else is fucking? Colin is so funny.
Oh,
he's so quick.
Colin's amazing. There's a bunch of guys, and I think I put you in there too, that just never really
Thank you.
promoted themselves on social media.
Yeah.
So it's like you're really good, but like even Attell, for the level of comedy that he is,
Yeah.
he should be selling out stadiums every night. But he just doesn't promote himself at all. All he does is just like all of his following is just word of mouth.
Yeah.
And other comics saying how great he is, and like people who have seen him before that come to see him again.
Well, he sells. One of my videos now is up to almost 5 million views. Is that good?
Yeah, good.
That's good. It's really funny.
I believe it. I believe you're funny.
If you want to play it, I will.
No, we don't. Let's wrap this up. So you're going to be at the mothership. What are the dates again? June what?
June I think 27th, 28th, and 20. I
Okay.
do it every week
We're
on my
gonna
birthday.
take pictures of you with your shirt off.
I
It's
can
gonna be
love
so prepare for that. Get
Okay.
ready.
Yeah.
Get yourself in shape. Tomorrow I'm gonna bring you to Waste Well. Get you on the peptides.
Oh,
Get
okay.
your blood work and find out what the fuck's going on with your shoulders. Shoot you up with stem cells.
I do have a special on Amazon called Rich Voss Anonymous. It's pretty fun.
Why is it called anonymous?
Because I taped it at an NA convention.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And the backdrop, Bonnie directed the beginning. The backdrop is fucking so
There
cool.
it is. Look at you.
Voss Anonymous.
You look good there. You look
Where's the
like a
trailer?
dangerous man. You look dangerous.
Can you play the trailer?
No, we're not gonna play a trailer.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Okay.
wrap this up. Nope, we don't need to play a trailer.
Okay.
You're fine.
I was doing it for you.
No,
I don't care
for
about
you-
me.
For you, I'm gonna not do it.
This, I've done this podcast 3 times, and this is the most fun I had.
It was fun.
It was fun.
We had a good time.
I had a good time.
I think he's on a resurgence. I think, he had a skid for a while, and now he's rebuilding himself. So you're smiling. Look at you, motherfucker.
So he beat Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson
I
when he
think-
was like almost 4 years old.
I think, honestly, we got Michael Chandler after his prime. If you go watch Michael Chandler fight Eddie Alvarez in Bellator, those were fucking crazy fights. Crazy fights.
Yeah, but at the end of the
Wars.
day, you see wars. It's a
Yes.
very competitive fight.
Yes.
You see almost a bar fight. You see 2 guys in the middle of the octagon exchanging punches, but you don't see technique. You don't see skills. You see a great fight because as a fans, it's a very entertaining to watch fights like that. But if you really think about it, it's like you don't see skills in that fight. You don't see someone trying to take you down, control you, some great submission, great transitions. I don't know, striking. You see a guy that he's like looking for a combination. He's looking for his moment, creating a spaces. You don't see like, I don't know.
I see what you're saying. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's the end of tax season, and I know by now you all are probably sick of numbers. But there's one more expense we need to talk about, and that's how much you're investing in your well-being. The cost of traditional therapy can be outrageous, between $100 and $250 a month or even more. So, how do you get the help you need without blowing your monthly budget? Use BetterHelp. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you money and time. It could even help you save up to 50% per session, and you still get quality care. Therapy is a good tool everyone can use. Whether you've experienced a major trauma or not, it can teach you valuable skills you can use in your everyday life, like how to better manage all that stress tax season brings, or how to communicate better with your partner, or even how to be more mindful. Use BetterHelp to work towards your goals at a reasonable cost. It's also more convenient since everything is online. It's easier to work in a therapy session no matter how hectic your schedule gets. And as one of the largest online therapy platforms, BetterHelp has access to thousands of therapists with all sorts of specialties, so you can find the right fit for you. Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/JRE to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JRE. So it's not as tactical or technical.
Exactly.
It's just wild dogs.
It's
Yeah.
just wild dogs.
I mean, that's why Michael Chandler is so popular, because he fights like a wild dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. You need the guys also like him.
But I would never recommend my friend to fight like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never would recommend to someone watch this guy and learn something.
Right. Learn, yeah. It's like, he's so entertaining, but sometimes it's best to not be as entertaining and just to be better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and shut people down.
At the same time, you don't have to be Bilal.
Right. I see what you're saying. But Bilal, I think, gets too much bad rap. Like Bilal, when he beat up Sean Brady, that was very entertaining. And Sean Brady's very good. I think Bilal just does what it takes to win. And when you're in a division, and also like he didn't really have a background in wrestling at the level that a lot of these guys did. He had to develop that over time.
Yeah, but there are 2 types of champions for me. Like there are champions who prepare themselves to win, and there are the other ones who prepare themselves to dominate. I prepare myself not to win because I know that I'm gonna win. I want to win in fashion. I want to dominate. I want to maul people. I want people to be entertained. I want people to be like, wow, I'm happy that I spent the money this Saturday night going watch this guy. This is what I want.
Yeah, someone was talking about that recently on Instagram. I don't remember who the coach was, but he was talking about levels of athletes. That there's people that train to compete, there's people that train to win, and then there's people that train to dominate, to be the greatest of all time.
Exactly.
And there's a different mindset. There's a never satisfied, always improving mindset that the great champions have.
All the time. I want the people to be entertained all the time. Right? When actually I started with the MMA, I was like recording myself all the sparrings, and after that I was watching my sparring. I was like, would I pay my money to watch this? What do I have to change in my game to be more entertaining? And this is how I was like looking myself all the time. I was very critical with myself, and this is how I develop. And all the time I go inside the octagon, I don't go there just to win. You know what I mean? I want everyone to be like, wow, what he just did, how he did it. He was the greatest of all time, and he made him look easy.
Yeah.
This is what I want. I want to change the game, you know, the people I want you to say, your friend, watch this guy and learn something.
Yeah, well, mission accomplished. So far, right? So far, so good. And now a new journey into the lightweight division. You know, I don't understand why they won't just book you in Islam. There's many times that I wish I was running the UFC. I would change so many different things. That would be one of the first things I would change. Like, book that fight right away.
You would do some fights also in Mars, I'm sure.
I would probably.
We all go with the Starship.
I got some wacky ideas. I don't even think they should fight in a cage.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the cage is an unnecessary.
Wow.
I think it's an unnecessary element in fighting, like to push someone against something or to be able to get up from something. I don't think it's necessary. I think they should be in like a basketball court that's matted up. Have a big space. Have a warning track where you can't. If you go outside the warning track too many times, you could lose points.
Okay.
And so when someone takes you down, you have to actually get up. I also think at the end of a round, like say if you got a guy mounted at the end of the round, you start the next round mounted on him.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't think.
Of course.
Because why would you give him the advantage of getting up when he never got up? He never got up. You have to earn a get up. You have to stand up by yourself.
I love it. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Actually.
No stand-ups ever. No stand-ups unless someone commits a foul. Like if someone commits a foul and you want to stand them up and take a point away, that's fine. But if the guy's at the bottom and he commits a foul, if a guy's at the bottom and he gouges someone's eyes on purpose, take a point away, put him right back in the same spot.
Wow.
Because otherwise, like say if you're fighting a guy like Alex Pereira, who's never taking anybody down, he's just going to strike with you, right?
Okay.
Why would you let him back up again and have the advantage of him standing up again? The beginning of the round, he starts standing up again. Now you got to take him down again.
But also, you don't think that it's a part of the show?
It is
also
part of the show, but I don't give a fuck about that. I'm a hardcore fan. I'm a purist. I think it should be about fighting, about elite fighting. And elite fighting is you got to get up. Like if a wrestler takes you down and he just does this to you and it's not entertaining. But if he can do that to you, that's tough shit. That's what he did.
You would change also the time range, like, you would leave a 3 rounds of 5 minutes with 1 minute rest.
The good thing about 5-minute rounds, is it's sustainable and guys can fight at a high pace. If you had like just 15-minute round, guys would be exhausted, and the end of it would be sloppy. It wouldn't be the same. The pace would be much slower. It wouldn't be as good. So I think there's nothing wrong with rounds, but I think it's one fight. It's not 5 fights. So why does he stand up at the end of every round? I think if a guy takes you down and he's got you mounted with like trapped an arm and he's punching your ribs trying to secure an arm triangle, why does he get to stand up again?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
Especially if he's a striker and you wasted all that energy to get him to the ground and you got so close to cinching up a submission and then all of a sudden he's back on his feet again.
Bang, clink, you have to stand up.
And he didn't even
Start
earn it.
again. Yeah.
Start him right back down there. No cage, no stand-ups. No stand-ups ever. If everybody boos, tough shit. Go watch baseball. Go
That's
watch.
true.
Go watch something else.
You wouldn't like to see at some point the world championships in mixed martial arts, like for example, let's say the 7 best fighters from the United States in every weight class against 7 best fighters from, I don't know, from China or from Russia.
Yeah, I would love that.
The best flyweights against the best flyweight from the United States.
Sure.
And you do that, and you have 7 fights because you have 7 weight divisions. And if you win 4 weight divisions, that country won.
Yeah,
That will be fun also.
that would be great. That's a great idea. I love that idea. Yeah, I think that idea sounds really good. And also, there is a bit of an issue, right, with the UFC being the premier organization for martial arts. The UFC is like, if you're not a champion in the UFC, no one thinks of you as a world champion.
Yeah.
Like, you're a world champion. World champion. Someone can fight in the PFL and they can say, oh, it's the PFL world champion. Everybody's like, all right, come on.
Because at the
Great
end of the
fighters,
day-
but at the end of the day,
You know that you have all the best fighters,
Right.
the best collection of fighters in the UFC.
yes, but I watch ONE FC and I watch some of those fucking animals that they have over there, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, some of these guys are good, man.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are good, and you know they're calling them ONE FC world champions. I'm like, I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them because some guys look real good until they fight elite talent. We've seen that before. Like some guys look like destroyers, and then they get in the UFC against guys who are just a little bit more technical, a little smarter, and they get pieced up.
What happens is that I think that in one championship, you most of the time you used to fight with strikers. In the UFC, you don't know who you're gonna face next. Maybe he's a wrestler.
Right.
Maybe you're gonna fight Demian Maia,
Right.
who wants to fight you in the ground. Maybe you fight Alex Pereira. You don't fucking know. So you have
Right.
to be good everywhere, and you have to be prepared for everything.
Yeah.
In one championship, maybe you are good at striking, and you can be a world champion.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are some good grapplers over there, but my point is, I really wish there was no organizations. I really do. I really wish it was just all the best fighters competing. Look, I love the UFC. I've been working with the UFC forever. And my loyalty is to the UFC. But I wish there was just only fighting. You know, no organizations, just like boxing is. In boxing, but the problem with boxing is it's very difficult to get these guys because they all have different promoters.
Exactly.
And if they all have the same promoter, they all get fucked when it comes to negotiation, right? If they all have the same promoter and the same managers.
You know something about soccer? No.
Yeah, I know a little bit
Like
about it.
how they do like the Champions League. They have like, for example, let's say the Real Madrid. They have a team. That's why what I would do is like I would create a team against another team. For example, I have Real Madrid. I signed like the best 7 fighters in the world, whoever I want in different weight classes. And you have, for example, Barcelona. You sign the 7 best fighters in the world around the world. You train them in one place. You do like all the strategy, and we meet each other. We do a competition like a Champions League, and we do like the whole year calendar, and the best wins. At the end of we do like the finals, and we give them the space to recover. We create like a competition between teams, not that individual people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would do something like that.
That's a
maybe.
great idea, but the problem is I think guys get injured, guys fall out, guys
So
get sick.
that's why in soccer you have guys that in your position you always have 2 or 3 guys. That if you are injured, you have another guy that
Right.
can change you, switch. You know, between the rounds even. You are in soccer. Sometimes it happens. Someone gets injured in stadium, and they can switch them.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, at the end of the day, like imagine, say, if you get scheduled to fight Islam, and Islam gets injured, and Arman Sarukian takes his place or something
But
like
you
that.
are.
The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From the play-in games all the way through to the finals, now's your time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. All season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props, and that doesn't stop now. Want to make your playoff experience even more intense? Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Ready to place your first bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, lock in your bets, and let's make this playoff run unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code ROGAN. That's code ROGAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Again, you are like focused on individuals. You are not focused on teams. Because no one's going to care who is going to fight from the flyweight division, who is going to be your representative from the flyweight division or from the lightweight division. I'm like, maybe I bring you Islam, that I have him in my team, or also I could have Charles Oliveira in the same team. Or maybe I bring Charles Oliveira because I think that against your team, the guy you have in the lightweight division, Charles does it better.
Right. They do that with grappling, like Big Ten. They do that. They have like grappling teams. Yeah, I mean that would be interesting. There's certain fighters like my main regret in MMA that we never got to see Fedor fight in the UFC when he was in his prime.
That's true.
If I could have one fight in their prime, Fedor Cain Velasquez.
That would be
In their
a great
prime.
fight.
Oh my God.
Great
In
fight.
their prime. That would have been incredible. Incredible.
Actually, Kane was an amazing fighter.
Bro. That guy had a gas tank that was superhuman. So for a heavyweight, it didn't even make any sense. You would see guys just fall apart. They would just wilt.
Pure boxing style.
Pure
also.
boxing style, great wrestling, incredible chin, and just indomitable will. Too tough for his own good, which is why he wound up, like, towards the end of his career, his body had deteriorated so much.
Yeah.
He had so many back injuries, neck injury, shoulder injury, knee injury. There was
Actually,
just...
what's going on with him? He's in jail right now.
Another industry,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you did that in the securities industry, the banking industry, you wouldn't get away with it. And you know, north of 70%, I think the number 74% of our nutritional research is funded by private industry. You know, we privatize the profit, but we socialize the expense. And by this I mean, like, we socialize through the tax subsidized medical system, Medicaid, Medicare, the expenses, right? So the expenses go onto the taxpayer, but the payments go to private industry. So we privatize the profit and we socialize the risk. And then the private industry that benefits from this doesn't even have a fiduciary to the patients that they serve. They actually have a fiduciary to the investor. And they can go to prison for not actually performing for their investor. They can't go to prison for not performing for their patient. So if I make a pharmaceutical that goes into your body, but somebody invested in my company to make that pharmaceutical, my responsibility is to them, not to you. So now you get harmed. I'm held harmless. But if I harm him by not selling it to you for the right margin, he gets to put me in prison. It's mind-numbing. It's so ass backwards.
It's so ass backwards, and it's such an uphill sludge. I mean, what the current administration has to do, what Bobby Kennedy has to do, is sort of restructure decades and decades of what's essentially corruption.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people fighting him on it, man.
Oh,
Wow.
I could only imagine, because the amount of profit, when you're talking about these industries, the amount of money they generate is astronomical. And they're responsible for so much of the advertising revenue of mainstream media. that mainstream media not only will not cover the negative aspects of their drugs, but will heavily criticize anyone who tries to go outside the narrative.
Very true. And I mean, look at this, this Strong Kids Commission. It's the idea is to try to go to schools, put physical education back into schools, get highly processed foods out of the schools, and actually not to fat shame kids, but to pro-body morphic encourage them. Like, yes, it's okay to not want to be sloppy and out of shape and to call that out and to actually be physically fit and healthy. It's not that you have to be there to gain status, but it's okay to not want to be fat.
Well, there's the like, I don't think you should shame people and
I don't
be
think so
cruel
either.
to them. However, if someone pulls you aside and says, "Hey, Bobby, you're overweight and it's fucking up your health, and it's really bad for you," if that makes you feel bad and that feeling bad inspires a change in your lifestyle, in your diet, in exercise routines, and what you do, that's positive. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to feel bad. Like, someone has to give you an F for you to realize, oh my God, I'm going to fail in this class unless I study harder.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of life. And
Yeah.
you can't just coddle people and expect success. That's not how it works.
I totally
And
agree.
It's one of the most important aspects of athletics, because athletics are it's a very clear formula that the more work you put in, the harder you train, the more results you'll get, as long as you're not overtraining, you do
Right.
it correctly. If you put
It's
in
the
the
ultimate
effort,
sieve,
yeah, you work hard, you will get results. And it's a vehicle for the rest of your life. If you can learn that at a young age, that's why I think athletics are so important for young people. If you can learn that at an early age, that the discomfort is necessary for growth. Like being tired, pushing yourself, working out when you don't want to, like pushing yourself to the point where your body has to adapt and grow and become stronger is a part of this process, and it's beneficial. And through doing that, you will actually feel better. It is actually a medicine. If you could get the way I feel after I have if I cold plunge, have a hard workout, get in the sauna, stretch out, and then go about my day. If you could put that in a pill, people are like, "Oh my God, my new anti-anxiety medication is just so incredible." My
I
doctor
take it every day.
It's so incredible. I'm so happy that I went to this doctor because he put me on the right stuff.
Yeah.
That pill, especially if it did all the things that exercise did without exercise, it would be the most valuable pill in the world. But getting people to feel discomfort voluntarily is so difficult when people have this sedentary lifestyle and this lazy mind and this entitlement that so many people have, where they feel like the world owes them something.
Yeah.
Instead of, I owe myself. I've got to work for myself. I've got to put off these feelings of, I've got to delay these feelings of, relaxation and comfort, and delay it and give myself some voluntary discomfort so that I can feel true peace.
Yeah, I actually trademarked the statement, aging is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. By the way, if you want to use that, just use it. I won't sue you. But
Also,
aging
actually aging is a part of it too.
Aging
No matter
is
what
the
you do.
aggressive pursuit of comfort. And if you think about that for a minute, it truly is. The more aggressively we seek comfort, the faster we age.
Right.
We really got to stop telling Grandma not to go outside. It's too hot. Not to go outside. It's too cold. Just
It's
to
not
lay
even
down.
really aging, right? It's
Just
deterioration.
It's deterioration.
Yeah, you're gonna your muscles will atrophy, your bone density will decrease, your ligaments and your
Because we
tendons will
seek
lose.
comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, when has a cold plunge not sucked?
Every
For
day.
me, it sucks
I
every time.
I don't want to do every day while I'm doing it. There's my little inner bitch that's trying to talk me out of it. My little inner bitch has a little whispery voice though. It's like,
You don't need to,
oh,
Joe.
this is gonna suck. Maybe you could just go eat cake.
You're rich and successful.
Yeah, you don't have to do this. But
Just get
thankfully,
fat.
the general is what I call the one part of my brain that I try to keep the most dominant. That where I tell myself, shut the fuck up. Shut up, stupid. Get in there. This is
I hear-
unavoidable. Get in there.
I hear David Goggins in my head, like, you know, like, shut up, you pussy, get in that,
Yeah.
get in that, go plunge. He's like, what does he say? Don't negotiate with yourself. My son and I went on this race called the Great World Race, which is 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days. And I did a couple of half marathons and 1 full marathon. But he did all 7 marathons on all 7 continents in 7 days.
Whoa.
And-
How banged up was he by the end of 7 days?
Yeah, he was. This was in November, so he's 24 now. He's 23 at the time, so this was like 5 months ago. And I guess at 23, you kind of feel like you can't be killed by a bullet. You know? Turns out by Cartagena, he was feeling it, but we took the David Goggins book with us, and we read, like, I was reading like a chapter out of it every day. But it was a crazy experience because so my son Cole and myself and my cameraman, production guy, went with us. And initially, I'm like, this is so awesome. We're going to see all 7 continents in 7 days. We're going to see Antarctica. Dude, by the 3rd marathon, I was I was so exhausted and in so much pain. I mean, I'd only done like half marathons when we got off the flight in Antarctica. All the racers go out and start running. I had these big Timberland boots on, this big puffy jacket, and I was just sitting at the start line, just was going to wait for my son. And I asked the race director, I'm like, how long are these loops? He's like, well, they're 6 point whatever miles, and there's 4 of them. And I was like, I could easily do one of these. So I just started running. Whatever.
In the Timberlands?
In these size 14 Timberlands. Dude. Which I immediately regretted, because then the snow starts caking to the bottom of my Timberland. So I ended up actually marching and not really running. And it was so funny because my son has these spikes on, so of course he laps me. He comes by. It's like, Dad, what the fuck are you doing out here? I was like, I thought I'd give it a whirl. So I actually made 3 loops, so I got 18 miles.
Oh, wow.
He ran the whole 26.3. Then you get on the plane, and then you fly 5.5 hours in economy, sitting up like this. Right? You fly 5.5 hours, and you land in Cape Town, South Africa, and you get off the plane and immediately run another marathon.
Oh.
And it's balls hot. And then we packed up, and from that marathon, so now these marathons were only like 5.5 hours, 6 hours apart. So now you've done 2 marathons in 24 hours, one in Antarctica, one in the heat, South Africa. And then it was like 11 hours to Perth, Australia. And I ran another half there. He ran a full marathon there. And then you're done in Perth, Australia, and you pack up and flew to Istanbul. And the cool thing about Istanbul is you could run on the Asian side and then run on the European side. So this was like the only night we got to stay in a hotel room and actually take a shower. And so we get to Istanbul, and the marathon was supposed to be along this wharf. It was like supposed to be. It's pitch black at night. It's the dock is all broken apart. You know, there's these big, huge cracks in the sidewalk, and it was 26.3 miles along this wharf. Only the thing was, we were told that they were going to get all the fishermen off the wall, and so there was lines and lines and lines of these guys fishing at night, and they would take the
Oh, boy.
and they would snap the hooks forward. And so we get there and we're like, this is way too freaking dangerous. And I guess the company that they had hired to clear all these fishermen just took their money and said the whole course was going to be lit. Found out the course wasn't lit, so then you had to wear the headlamps. And so it took them like an hour and 20 minutes to clear all these fishermen. But then we started running, and we ran with those those headlights on. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever been in pitch black and you just watched that light bounce in front of your eyes, I don't know how my son did it, because I ran for like an hour and a half, and I was like, fuck this, I have nothing to prove. You know, I'm 53, I'm gonna be 54. I'm like, I've already run a few half marathons. I feel really good. So he ran the entire thing, and I joined him for a bunch of laps, but finally he just ripped the thing off his head, because that light shaking in front of your eyes for 4 hours at a time, pretty soon you just start to go batty. And then you go to sleep. The next day you run on the Asian side. Then it was 19 hours to Cartagena, and about a third of the athletes drank the water with the ice or ate the salad that was washed in the waterfront.
Oh no.
And the worst Montezuma's revenge, Joe, you could ever imagine.
Oh no.
Like a third of the plane wakes up 6 or 7 hours into this 19-hour flight, just puking both ends.
Oh boy. Lines outside the bathroom.
Lines outside the
Squeezing
bathroom.
your butthole shut, trying to get in there. Big time.
People laying in the
Oh,
in the
no.
galleys, just throwing up into the trash cans.
Oh no.
And I swear, by the time we had landed, my son had lost so much weight, and he was just in the. And then we get to the hotel room, which you
You just get out. They assaulted cops, and then they're on the street giving the Tupac to the camera. You ever see that?
No, Joe.
Bro, it's
What?
crazy. First of all, we got to show you the Kamala Harris thing. You got the Kamala Harris thing? You can't find it? They probably scrubbed it from the internet. No, I mean, she's being changed. Not
You're-
sure
you're-
what to look for.
You're putting the
It's
tinfoil hat
okay.
on my head.
We
Right?
don't,
Like, that's
we don't
how I'm
have to
feeling.
put it out. We don't have to show it. It's because we've already showed it a bunch of times. It's how you would do it if you wanted to destroy America. I'm not saying. So the question becomes like, how much of it is our own folly? How much of it is just natural human behavior? How much of it is like the right wants law and order, so we don't want law and order. The right wants to punish prisoners. We don't know. No, it's racist. Racism. You know, it's like, what is it?
But that's just teens fighting. That's
Titans,
so,
yeah. But also, I feel like it's manipulated as well, and maybe more so than anything else. I feel like it's manipulated. And again, if you wanted to turn us into China, and what I mean by that is a country that's facial recognition everywhere, social credit score system that's attached to all of your banking, your ability to travel, everything you do. If you make anything online that's against the government, you could be disappeared, you could be locked up, you could be made a political prisoner. You know, this is fun.
It felt like we were heading that way.
Yeah, I think this is something that, I think it was Metzger that said this. No, it was Duncan that said this about Ukraine and Russia. He was like, do you realize, like, the Ukrainians that we're killing, or that rather the Russians that we're killing by sending over arms and money to fund the Ukrainians? Not saying that we shouldn't do this, but he's saying that a lot of those guys are being forced to go to the front line. And a lot of those guys are prisoners who get released in order to fight. So what if you're a prisoner because you wrote a bad tweet against Putin, and they lock you up, and then all of a sudden Ukrainians are killing you with American weapons because you tweeted bad against Putin? So it's Putin's way of like eliminating
Yeah.
any dissent from, like, and they don't even arrest that many people online in comparison to, or for doing things online in comparison to the UK. The UK is getting in on it full steam ahead. The UK is arresting people for anything that makes people uncomfortable online. They show up at your house and just fucking arrest you. They've arrested, like, how many people have been arrested in the UK for social media posts in the last year? It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. This is just posts on social media, like, we need to send these illegal immigrants back. Saying shit like that.
Yeah.
You get arrested. Arrested. Hate crimes.
Even if I'm joking, even if I'm just fucking having a...
There's no jokes.
Wow.
No jokes online anymore. Not in the UK. Not only that, but the guy who's the head of the UK, they're saying now that they could potentially arrest Americans who have posted things online when they visit the UK. Yeah, I was reading a post about this. Like, this law could potentially be used in this way. That if you are a person in America and you're posting horrible shit about the UK government or the immigrant problem or whatever they have, context behind available information, exact figures 2025, not fully comprehended. 2023. In 2023, 12,183 arrests were made across 37 police forces in the UK under Section 127 of the Communications Act 2003 and Section 1 of the Malicious Communications Act in 1988, equating to about 33 arrests per day. Laws cover sending grossly offensive, indecent, obscene, or menacing messages via electronic communication networks, which includes social media posts and also DMs. DMs. So people that are arrested for horrible DMs that nobody gets to see other than the friend that you're sending it to, supposedly.
You have no idea what the context is. That's
Checking
crazy.
into this one time recently, it said that a lot of people may have been arrested, but many of them were not prosecuted and released.
But it's still, right, okay, that's cute. It's still horrifying because what you're doing is scaring people into compliance. They don't want to be arrested again, and they certainly don't want to risk being prosecuted. But they're forcing people to censor themselves.
The
When I
jump.
read it, it said that they were breaking the law. I don't know which law
Right.
they're breaking.
Well, no,
but
they do have a law. They don't have freedom of speech the way we have in America. So they do have these hate speech laws. So they are breaking a law. But the question is, should that law exist? And I say no. No, that law should not exist. You shouldn't be able to put someone in a cage for saying, and some of them are not that offensive. Some of them are pretty fucking calm. Only a 1,119 sentences occurred for these offenses. Okay, but the problem is now go look at how many people were arrested in Russia for social media posts. And it's drastically less. But we think of Russia as being the country that censors people.
Yeah.
And,
China and Russia,
Which
that's
they
what you
do.
think.
Which they do. You can't criticize Putin. You can't go balls out. You're risking your life. You're in real trouble. Not excusing that. But what they're doing in the UK is at a higher level of magnitude. I mean, maybe they're not torturing people and sending them to the front line of Ukraine, but they are putting the fear of being arrested in people if
Yeah.
you say something that they don't want you to say on social media.
The jump from 2016 to 2023 is crazy.
Look at Russia. 2023, 54 people. So in the time where 12,000 people were arrested in the UK, 54 people were imprisoned for online hate speech
This also says
in Russia.
information isn't very
Russia's 100% accurate with their...
easy to find.
Shut up, Jamie.
No.
From
I
2010
wanna live
to
in this world.
2024, Novaya Gazeta Europe reported over 30,000 criminal and administrative cases related to social media posts, with about 1,200 being criminal cases. So they had 1,200 criminal cases. Common charges include extremism, inciting hatred, or insulting state symbols. That's where it gets sketchy.
I can't even make fun of the flag or a monument. I can't make fun of it.
Nope. Insulting. Making fun is insulting. There's no room for humor in a communist country.
Okay, sucks.
I mean, but it's not, Russia's not communist, really, anymore. It's really, it's a military dictatorship, essentially. I mean, Putin was the president, and you can only do a certain amount of time, and then you stop being the president, and say, fuck it, I'm the president again. And then no one's going to win going against him. I mean, they have elections, but what are you doing? But guys wind up getting poisoned, shot, it's old school.
Yeah, he's fucking.
It's old school. He's running that place.
It's his.
That's his. You're not taking it.
Man, I seen that picture of him, shirtless on a horse. I was like, don't fuck with this dude.
Yeah, he's a killer. He's a former KGB killer. Like, he's like the real deal. He's a judo black belt. He's a bad man.
Yeah.
And he runs that country. And they arrest less people. than
Yeah, what the fuck is going on in the UK?
They're leaning into the same direction that I was talking about that was scaring me about America. I feel like there's a plot. There's a plot to diminish the fabric of society. Like, if you want, okay, let's just look at the whole overall world, and is it fair? It's definitely not fair. There's a reason why these people in these third world countries want to come to Europe and why they want to come to America, because it's better here and it's better there, and they want a better life. I get it. But why are they fleeing where they came from? Well, brothers, we bombed the shit out of those places. We bombed the shit out of those places. We drone bombed them. We overthrew democratically elected governments with coups. There's a lot of instability that's caused by us. We're like, well, it's our fault. We gotta take these people in. I think instead of fucking up this one country by letting everybody come in and drag it down to a third world country, I think a better solution is figure out a way to prop up these other countries. The same way, I mean, in a simplistic version of it, like, you want everything for yourself, you're selfish, but you want everything for all your boys too, and everybody gets better.
Yeah.
The whole world gets better. So instead of like shipping off jobs to Mexico where they get $1 a day, maybe pay them real money. Pay them what you're supposed to be paying them. Maybe give them health care. Maybe if you are an American citizen and you want to hire someone to do something, you have to hire someone under the same structure of ethics that we agree to in the United States. period.
Yes.
Period. For all humans all over the world. And if the money translates lower because the American dollar is worth more, okay, but balance it out. Make it that, they can afford food, they can afford housing, they can afford healthcare. Make laws.
Agreed.
And then all of a sudden you prop up the whole world. And the whole world stop having third world countries, including in the United States. Like, why do we still have ghettos? Why have we put all this money into funding all these different things with like U.S. aid all over the world? And the south side of Chicago has the same amount of murders every year, if not more.
More every year.
Every year. Baltimore, same place. We had a cop in once, way back in the day, that he was a cop in Baltimore, and while they were working one day, he found a rap sheet, like a arrest sheet of all these different crimes that were committed in all these different areas from like the 1970s. And it was all the same shit that's happening today. And you realize, like, oh my God, it's never gonna end. Like, you're never gonna fix this. It's all the same problems in the same areas, and nothing's being done. The same drug arrests, the same violence, the same this, the same that, all in the same places. And all in these areas, mysteriously, all in these same areas that had been redlined during the Jim Crow era, where black people couldn't buy houses where the white neighborhoods are. They had to buy houses in one area, and those areas are fucked. And no one's corrected. No
Even
one's
now.
helped.
Doesn't make sense. But you think that's just that hard to let go, that feeling of I have to be better than somebody. Yeah, it's nice to know you're doing better than somebody else. It's something about human beings that they like.
I think it's convenient to ignore people that you're not going to profit from. If you are investing a bunch of money in green energy, or you're investing a bunch of money in whatever stupid shit you're doing with windmills, like, someone's making money. There's a lot of people making money. There's money being exchanged. If you're fixing South Side of Chicago, if you're like creating community centers and you're like robust education and counseling and providing mentorship and paths to jobs and giving people like an opportunity to make real money that's enticing, so they don't want to sell drugs or kill people, like, how are you making money doing that? You're not. And so people don't do it. It's that simple.
But it's like what you just said. Everyone would naturally, if everyone's doing it, the world would naturally rise.
Exactly.
But it would take time. I guess you're right. It's not a direct
generations.
profit.
It would take generations.
Yeah.
But there's no effort being done to it. So this guy that's seeing these crimes that were committed in the same area in Baltimore in the 1970s, this is in the 2000s. He's seeing the same shit. He's like, this is crazy. Like, this is the real systemic racism. This is the real problem in this. It's not like black people can't make it in America. No. It's like there's George Foreman on TV when he knocked out Joe Frazier, when Ali beat him in Africa. That was a famous story because Hunter S. Thompson went there, and he was supposed to watch it and write a story for Rolling Stone about it, but he was so sad that Ali was going to get fucked up that he decided not to go to the fight. So he stayed at his hotel and just floated around the pool, and he fucked up the whole assignment. And it was kind of, in the documentary, they say it was kind of like a pivotal moment in the downturn of his life, where he kind of like fucked his life up.
Really?
Yeah, because he failed in his assignment. He didn't, and back then you couldn't watch the tape. We're talking about the 1970s.
Yeah.
So after the fight's over, the fight's over. You missed the fight. You don't have a story. And so he didn't have a story. And he went all the way to Africa and just fucked off because he was just being silly. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a failure. I failed in my story. And it was like a downturn. And his life kind of takes a dark turn after that.
God, it's crazy how much, because you hear that, and it's that speech that Ali gave, which is also one of the most inspiring things ever, when he's like, I know you got him picked. I know you all got him picked. That, where he gets that one. I'll show you how great I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, to hear that, even Hunter S. Thompson was like, oh, wow, every casual must have been like, oh, Ali's about to get fucking.
Well, you got to understand, man. George Foreman was a machine. He was different. You ever seen George Foreman punch the heavy bag?
No.
Bro, he punches the heavy bag different than everybody. Because he winds up. Not only does he wind up and punch the heavy bag, he has it stay still. And he just hits so hard. And it's so terrifying that that's all he has to do in a boxing match. He just has to kind of cover up and get close enough to just whump you. Just whump, whump. And a lot of it is arm punches. Look at this. Listen to this. Give me some volume.
And he had a trainer, Dick Sadler, tiny by comparison to Foreman, and Sadler would hang on to the heavy bag, and Foreman would hit this bag. Sadler would just literally be picked off his feet.
Oh my God.
Foreman hitting the heavy bag is
one of the more prodigious sights I've had in my life. It seems to me that of all the people I've seen hitting heavy bags, including Sonny Liston, no one ever hit it the way Foreman did.
So all he's practicing is hitting hard. He's not trying to be slick. You notice the difference?
Yeah.
When the way like Canelo hits the heavy bag or Floyd hits the heavy bag, they're working skills.
Or even when you see Tyson do it, and that head is
Oh my
going
God.
crazy.
Tyson hit the heavy bag better than anybody in the history of the world. Better than anybody. Because he hit the heavy bag with all these crazy angles and speed like a lightweight. Speed like a lightweight.
It's bouncing.
Bro,
It's
214 pounds moving like a lightweight. Nobody was like that, dude. I still maintain he's the greatest. I think a lot of people shit on me. They say, no way, you don't know shit about boxing. I just think that run, when Cus D'Amato was training him to the title, Cus was already dead when he won the title, to like a few fights afterwards. Losing Cus, he lost his way a little bit, but that run when he was the man, when he knocked out Marvis Frazier, I think that's the greatest heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody's even close. I think he fucks them all up.
Yeah.
I think he fucks them all up if they fight him during that time.
People like to discredit things because of the whole career, but they don't want to give credit to a run. When you see somebody have a run that's truly
It's all about the run. It's all about the run.
Unreal.
That's why I always put BJ Penn in the list of all-time greats. Because during that run, when BJ Penn beat up Diego Sanchez, and when BJ Penn fucked up Sean Shirk and Joe Daddy Stevenson, when he did that, I'm like, that BJ Penn might be the baddest motherfucker alive. Like, he might be the baddest motherfucker alive. Like, I would have put that BJ Penn, I would have loved to see that BJ Penn versus Khabib. That would have been fucking crazy. And a lot of people think that's a ridiculous thing to say because Khabib was so dominant and BJ lost a bunch of times. I'm like, you're right. Argument, I accept. I'm not. Khabib might have beat him. He might have taken him down and mauled him the same way George St. Pierre did. He might have.
Yeah.
Khabib is a big guy, especially for lightweight, and his grappling skills are unparalleled. Khabib grapples and does fantastic with elite world championship caliber amateur wrestlers. I've heard stories of Khabib dominating guys in the gym at AKA that are elite wrestlers. That's how good Khabib is. So he might have been able to do that to BJ Penn. But BJ Penn might have got him too. BJ Penn might have got him. BJ Penn, especially when he was training with the Marinoviches and he had an unstoppable gas tank.
yeah.
Because he went and trained with Marv Marinovich, who was like this psychopath football trainer. Who had these like radical plyometric training methods, and all you did was strength and conditioning. It was like, you know how to fight. Stop all this fight training. We're just gonna get you in the most in-shape safe possible. And when they did that, BJ Penn was unstoppable. That BJ Penn, if somebody could have corralled him and got him to stay with that guy and then train all his skills outside of camp and then only train that way when he had world title fights and never fuck off, who knows, man? Who knows? He could have been the GOAT. He was so talented, man. Wow. So talented. That motherfucker, BJ Penn won the Mundials, okay? He was the first American to win the Mundials. Ever. The Mundials, the World Championships in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. As a black belt, 3 years into training. 3 years into training. First of all, it's insane to get a black belt in 3 years. But to get a black belt in 3 years and then win the World Championships is insane. Insane.
And that's, without even hearing the context, that's crazy because I know 3 years isn't long enough to do most things in
I
life.
was a brown belt for 8 years. I was.
And you were dedicated.
Yeah.
It's not like you weren't busting your
trained
ass.
a lot. They don't give those out, man. You have to earn it. It has to be real. Unless you're in a terrible gym. You're at a legit gym.
Yeah.
If I'm training with John Machado doesn't give out black belts. So you gotta be real to get that. You gotta choke a lot of people to get that. And BJ Penn got it in 3 years. 3 years. Yeah.
That's just natural gifts, God-given
It's
ability.
He's an addict. He said it to me. Like, we had a conversation on the phone once. It was really funny. He goes, I was talking to this guy and he was really young and he was like, he goes, BJ, I admire you. I copy your style, this and that. And he goes, man, you got so good so quick. He goes, man, I'm like you. I'm an addict. He goes, I'm just addicted to jiu-jitsu. He's like, fuck, man. And then I realized that that's it. I'm addicted to jiu-jitsu. I got addicted to something really good. I'm addicted. And I was like, that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing that could turn you into a junkie, unfortunately.
Just put that dial,
Yeah.
spin that needle towards something else, and it's over.
I knew a dude who was a world championship caliber pool player. and he was squeaky clean. He ate well. He drank water. He never drank alcohol. He didn't smoke cigarettes. He didn't do drugs. Straight as an arrow, super focused, world championship caliber player. Then he hurts his back in a car accident. They get him on those pills, and falls apart, man. Gets addicted to those pills the same way he was addicted to being a pool player. The same thing that made him just obsess on pool, where he's thinking about pool so much he becomes like the scariest guy to play. The same thing got him with the pills, and then he just overdosed and died young. But he was like, one time, my buddies were hanging out with him, and he fell asleep in his mashed potatoes, just fell asleep in his food. They were eating, just grayed out on pills right into his food. This is a guy that was like straight in and out, clean as a whistle, super focused, always dressed nice, always looked good,
Yeah.
thin, in shape,
Just one
just focused.
click to the left.
One
and
click
went.
to the left, one accident, and then pills, and then no one understanding how addictive those fucking pills were. The doctors never told you.
Yeah.
Nobody told anybody. You know?
No, when you see like those documentaries of like how people who just like broke a leg or something, and then they get them addicted to pills, and next thing you know, they lost their family, their job, everything.
I have many people that I know that happened to. Many people that I know that got injured, got on pills, and just they lost their lives. Jiu-jitsu guys, friends, a lot of people. Especially, again, back before the information was available. Now everybody knows pain pills are super, super addictive. Everybody knows someone in their family.
Yeah.
Everybody knows someone that just can't get off them. Everybody knows somebody that died. I know multiple people that have died from pain pills. Yeah. And so that's what got him. But it's the same thing now.
But that addiction is
that-
what makes you great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing in your head that makes you obsess on something. That's what it is. It's like this thing where you're trying to figure this thing out and you just want to get better at it. But that could be hijacked by gambling. That could be hijacked by video games. That could be hijacked by anything.
Pussy. I've seen guys.
Pussy.
Yeah, I've seen guys do
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that stuff.
That seems normal to me. That like makes sense, like biologically. But the gambling one is the craziest one to me.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest one because that might as well be gambling to those people. Whatever they're getting out of like risking $100,000 on a football game and just swat them out, you motherfuckers, you motherfuckers. Watching people do that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it gives me so much anxiety.
Oh, when you're in Vegas and you're walking through a casino, you just see people at that slot machine, and they're just glazed over.
That's like the dumbest version of it, though. But the risking everything on a game or risking everything on like roll of the dice,
A roulette,
craps,
fucking- yeah.
roulette, like that kind of thing is so nuts. It's so nuts to watch. It gives me so much anxiety. Like, you ever see Uncut Gems, that Adam Sandler movie?
One of the best movies. I've seen it 100 times, dude.
So good.
It's unreal. And it just shows Adam Sandler in a way of like, oh, this motherfucker can act. He can for real act.
For real act.
But yeah, that movie, I remember being in the theater and I'm with my wife and she's squirming. And I was like, what's wrong? You all right? And she was like, this is making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This is making me fucking uncomfortable.
Super uncomfortable.
And I was like, yeah, this movie, it was, because it's the adrenaline rush you're on. You feel like you're gambling.
Well, the movie's so good, it locks you in, like we were talking about, like comedies, like hypnosis. That movie was like hypnosis. Like, it locked you into this character and his decision making, and this addiction to gambling that he has, and all the shady characters around. Everybody's pulling scams, and everybody's doing this and that, and there's always something happening. And
there's few movies that can lock you into a character like that, where you're like, I don't even agree with this person, and I'm so invested.
And at the end of the movie, you're like, what the fuck?
Incredible.
Spoiler alert. But it's one of those what the fuck moments where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That movie, I shut it off and I was just breathing heavy for 5 minutes. Just, fuck.
Oh,
man.
I like a movie like that too, where you're like, this feels real. This feels like it can, like you said, happen to my neighbor, happen to my best friend. Like this could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
You just get lost in this.
Yeah, your mind is weird, man. People's minds are strange. Like, minds can go down these weird pathways. And it's like most people don't have a good management system for it either. So it's like you're driving this car with no traction control and too much horsepower and it's flying all over the road and, and you freaked out. You're always on 10. Like, ooh.
Yeah, dude. Fuck. Another movie that makes you feel that way is There Will Be Blood. When you're watching, because that's the same, where you're watching a guy just go through this life and you're like, I'm getting uncomfortable. He's killing his fake brother and he's fucking, you know what I mean? And by the end, like you said, the ending of that one as well, where you're like,
The fuck?
the fuck is this? I showed it to my wife and she literally goes, Derek, why the fuck did you show me that? And I was like, you had to see it. You needed to experience this.
Yeah.
That's how good this movie is. I love a movie like that where you give me an experience.
That's one of the greatest movies ever. Ever. For experience. Just like for sheer, like, just becoming that guy.
Yes.
He was that guy. You believed every single second of it. There was no soap opera acting going on at all.
No, dude, this is my son, HW. The way he talks, the way he is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then you see like him devolve into this crazy billionaire. Because when we see crazy billionaires, we don't really, and it's like to see how a person becomes a crazy billionaire. Because he's not a regular guy in the beginning of the movie. He falls, breaks his leg in that hole. You know what I mean? He's a regular dude.
There's a little element of that guy in everybody that's a crazy billionaire. There has to be.
How do you get there?
You have to manage that the same way everybody manages everything else. Like imagine like trying to manage being Elon Musk. Imagine trying to manage that. Imagine just trying to manage that.
I don't know how he finds the time.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like it doesn't even seem real. Like it could possibly be real.
Yeah, because now he works for the government along with still trying to get us to Mars and all these other cool things he's doing. You know what I mean?
And people are scrutinizing him at a level like they want him to be perfect in every way. And it's like you don't get that out of these wacky geniuses. You don't get perfect. You get unbelievable capabilities mixed in with all kinds of flaws that even he makes fun of. Like, you know, he's even talked openly about like self-inflicted wounds that he gives himself on Twitter. He's posted about it with like laughter emojis. Like, but he's having a good time, no matter what.
He is on. That would be like watching the There Will Be Blood guy also tweeting his thoughts.
Yeah.
You would see some shit where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, he's not that way. He's
No,
like
not
a
that great.
murderous fucking psychopath who steals people's oil. I drink your milkshake. He's not that.
No, but I just the idea, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a little bit in him. It has to be to conquer like that. I feel like.
Well, I think his drive is different than most of them, and his drive is accomplishments and innovation. Like he's obsessed with getting people to Mars. He's obsessed with the engineering involved in what they've accomplished already with SpaceX. The ability to take a booster, shoot it off into space, and then the booster comes down and lands and gets caught with robot arms is so off the charts beyond anything anyone else has accomplished in the world of rocketry and space science and all the engineering involved. It's off the charts. Like what SpaceX has done is it's not appreciated enough because he's so polarizing politically because of his affiliation with Trump and because of all the propaganda that has been spun his way. There's some definite natural reactions that people have to him that are organic and real, and they get upset at some of the things he does. That's real. But also there's a gigantic propaganda machine that's trying to paint him as a literal Nazi. And they're doing it because they have a vested interest in keeping all these NGOs and all their funding in place exactly the same way it's always been, and having a genius go into all of your fucking bookkeeping and accounting is not good if you've been unchecked for decades and you have a fucking just an unstoppable budget and a lot of waste and a lot of incompetence and probably a bunch of fraud and theft too, of course. Yeah. I mean they've acknowledged that, you know. One of the things they said, which is hilarious, they said he found, I think it was it Social Security or Medicaid, a bunch of fraud, and then they were saying, well, actually, the government had already identified this 2 years ago. Okay, but why didn't you have this press conference and say,
why did we wait?
Did you just cover it up? Did you make a big deal? Did you stop it in its tracks? Did you reverse it? Did you prosecute people? Did you get the money back? Why are you saying, yeah, we already knew about that? Like, that's not good enough. Like, what did you do? How come you didn't find out about that $250 million that went to transgender animal studies? Like you didn't notice that one? You didn't
such a
notice
good bit about that,
$21 million through Iraq and Sesame Street? You didn't notice that? You didn't notice like fucking like just so much of it is kooky. It's so much money, and the way NGOs and nonprofits work, I didn't understand it. I didn't know that it's all like cyclical money that's like flowing around. It's billions of dollars. is just flowing around. A lot of it's unchecked, and they've been doing it forever, and that's why we're $36 trillion in debt. You know, not good.
How
don't know,
how does it get that bad?
I don't know. But then there's also legitimate arguments on the other side. Like the other side's making a very legitimate argument about the right to due process if you get processed and shipped out of the country and put in a prison in El Salvador. You know, what is the quote? Was it Benjamin Franklin's quote about innocent, and that it's better to allow 10 guilty people to go free than one innocent person arrested? You know, I'm on that side of things.
Yeah.
That's I think due process exists for a reason, and the reason is it is horrific for someone to be accused of something they didn't do, be imprisoned for crimes they didn't commit, and then live in a cell, live in a cage with a bunch of
People who did commit shit.
Here it is, Benjamin Franklin. It's better 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer. That is wisdom that has survived hundreds of years. It's incredibly accurate, and it is the foundation of freedom. Like, we have to make sure that these people are actually guilty, otherwise we become monsters. You can't, like, what is that when you fight monsters? Be careful that you don't become one.
Become one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very important. It's very important. You know, you can't do that. But also, you also have to deal with the fact that the current administration is dealing with the past administration allowing, but added that does not necessarily limit the military commitment. The assessment signed by the Chief of Army Staff on 9 June 1945 concluded it would be beyond our power to win a quick but limited success, and we would be committed to a protracted war against heavy odds. The code was, yeah.
This
So-
is okay. First of all, I never do Wikipedia.
Okay,
but
we don't
that's
have to do
okay.
Wikipedia.
No,
This-
it's okay. It's okay.
This is
But
just what Jamie pulled up.
Okay, but first of all, yes, at the end of the war, a plan requested that wasn't seen through that suggests that after the defeat of Nazism, communism of the Soviet form is also going to be a threat to Europe, was simply evidence that, I mean, it's obvious.
True.
It's what Churchill had worried about throughout the 40s. Worried about it at Yalta, worried about it everywhere. I'm sorry, but I have to return to this point that this man manages to do one of the most heroic things in human history in standing alone against evil in its most concentrated form. And he does about as much as any human being can do to save the civilized world. If you just park that and you go on to a plan in 1945 to try to counter Soviet domination of Europe, you see what I'm saying? This is,
Yeah, but no
this
one's
is not
doing that.
doing something in the round.
Yeah, it's also, look, I mean, I'm not even like I'm not at all the expert on World War II, and I'm not like gonna debate with you about World War II. But I would say that like there's a lot of room for nuance and disagreement with what you just said. You know, in the 20th century, we had 2 world wars. They're the worst thing, objectively speaking, the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. And the Second World War is the biggest bloodbath in human history, and it ended with handing the man who you just mentioned, Joseph Stalin, half of Europe. So listen, if you want to argue, I'm Jewish and like of German descent, so like I'm not against the argument that it was the Nazis had to be defeated and that was the most important thing, but there still is just the basic facts that it almost couldn't have gone worse. It was like just a nightmare for civilization. And if people want to look back at that and go, man, was there any other way this could have been handled? Was there any other way? Were there blunders that were made here? Now, personally, what I feel much more comfortable arguing would be that I try to blame everything I can on Woodrow Wilson as much as I can, because also he created the income tax and the Federal Reserve and did so much to damage my country. But I think American entry into World War I was really a disaster. And imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany was a disaster. I also think that's kind of fairly mainstream history. Like, that's not a particularly controversial view, that like imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany ended up in disaster.
Well, no, except as Martin Amis said, the only way to not get the Treaty of Versailles would be for Germany to win World War I.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the Nazis winning the war.
Sure.
We're talking about, you know,
Sure.
listen, I think that...
But secondly, sorry, I just have to address that fundamental. You say, look, the outcome of World War II and everything happened, it was the worst thing that's ever happened. And the worst thing, imagine the worst possible outcome, you said.
No.
Just about.
You said worst possible outcome. Let me give you a much worse possible outcome. Hitler wins.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
so it's not the worst possible outcome.
I mean,
That's true.
Listen, but okay, Hitler. Yes. Okay. I'm not saying you can't dream up a worse outcome. I'm saying what you
It's
have.
not dreaming up. That's just what my country,
Okay.
Birth, and others went
But
through.
what did end up happening was 60 million people died, including the Holocaust, and then Joseph Stalin takes half of Europe. So okay, fine. I'll correct that. There is a worse outcome.
Right.
But that's not a great one.
No, nobody said it was. This is like,
Right.
there's a very weird argument that you now hear about this attempt to revisionism. I know why it's happening.
I don't think there's anything I'm saying
there
that's
is.
revisionist.
I think there is. But this attempt to sort of say, look, at the end of World War II, what have we got? Stalin has half of Europe. What was the point, and so on. That's going on. That's going on. And there are people who are feeding it. That argument is very similar. This particular school of, as it were, history is doing something that I've seen happen with American history as well, particularly with Lincoln. Lincoln's an interesting comparison to make with Churchill on this. There are people who will criticize Churchill for mistakes made, not hard to do. Quite hard not to make mistakes while fighting a war of total annihilation against your country. People will say, oh, he didn't sort this out in 1945. It's rather like Lincoln. He didn't solve every problem in the world for all time, but he solved a hell of a big problem for his time. And that requires some kind of generosity of spirit and understanding in hindsight, as opposed to, I will find something that he did that I wouldn't have done, because if I'd have been running the British Empire in 1939, I'd have known exactly how to do it, and I'd have known how to hold the whole thing together, and I'd have kept Stalin back, and he'd have been great at Yalta, and this is...
But I don't think anybody's saying that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is a tendency of like woke left kids to do this, but I don't think that's what certainly not what I'm saying, and I don't think what Daryl's saying. I do also think that one of the bigger kind of the bigger picture dynamics to all of this is that we have, at least since 9/11, been in a state of perpetual war. And all of these wars have been disasters. They have been so many lies involved in selling all of them. I mean, the whole Iraq war, the whole war in Afghanistan, just lying the whole way through. I mean, I remember literally having conversations with Green Berets in the middle of the war in Afghanistan, and they're like, George W. Bush is telling you that the army we're building up there is really successful. This thing's gonna fall in a week without us. And then all through the Obama administration, it's just like lie after lie after lie with disastrous wars. And so this does create a fertile ground for people to say, I wonder if they were lying about all these wars.
Sure.
Again, I'm not really trying to
it is
argue with you about
fertile
World War
ground.
II. I'd rather argue about these
fertile
wars
ground.
today.
I think the interesting question is whether you're busy watering.
Well, should you not talk about mistakes that were made
You should.
overall?
Absolutely.
Okay, you should.
Absolutely.
Right.
I am all for going
So-
back and looking at mistakes.
So what is your argument then?
It's a very weird thing to go back, zone in on a man, say this one thing is a mistake and should characterize him, and you ignore everything.
You're taking him
It's
out of
like
context
wildly
when you're talking
weird
about
thing to
Daryl,
do.
who's done, what was it, 30 plus hours?
So what? 30 plus hours of
But you take-
podcasting. You do that in a week.
UFC 314 is headed to South Beach, and it won't be all glitz and glamour, but the stars will be out. Don't miss any of the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. It promises to be another banger of events, especially in the featherweight main event between two evenly matched fighters, Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. It should be wild. First time, just pick something simple, like a fighter to win, and make your pick. It's that simple. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Step into the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code ROGAN. That's code ROGAN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Yeah, but it's a very different thing.
different.
It's a very different thing.
He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing scholarly work, nor is he working in the archives. Come on, I mean, he is not the historian of our era.
He's not claiming to be.
This is the thing, Joe. This is like punching jelly.
No, but
It
you
can
don't
always
consume.
adapt-
But
it
you
can
don't
adapt
consume
around.
his work.
Well, I'm saying because I don't need to consume endless versions of a revisionist history. I understand.
But it's
know where
not
this comes
revisionist
from.
history. If you listen to his work, it's not revisionist history. He's basing it on historical
But
work.
yeah, I know, but okay. So this is my point about jelly. It's a shapeshifter thing. Comedian or historian?
He's not a
His-
comedian.
Historian or podcast? It would be historian or actual historian. You say he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he's pumping out tens of hours of
Well, neither
history.
does Dan Carlin. He doesn't claim to be a historian either.
You see my point about the move? It's like some weird jujitsu move.
No, I don't-
Where you say, hang on, you know all about this as well. You say, I'm not a historian, but I'm going to spend my time talking about history. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. It's a weird move, yeah?
No.
You don't think?
No, I'm a free American. I can talk about
you
what
can
I like
talk
to.
about
So
what
I
you
don't.
want.
So what is the
I've
point
noticed
here?
you can, but
So,
we
but what's
all
the
can.
point?
The point is, what are you pushing? What are you watering?
What am
Why?
I pushing?
Yes.
Liberty, free markets, peace, prosperity, not getting in another stupid catastrophic war, which we're on the precipice of right now. That's what I'm pushing.
What are we on the precipice of?
Well, I think weren't you just talking about it the other day? Everyone I hear on the inside says we're about to attack Iran. I think you just said something about that the other day. Am I wrong about that? I thought I saw in one of the interviews that you did. No. Okay.
That doesn't mean we are on the verge of war. I mean, you keep referring to we being in wars. There's a very big difference between a country having a military that's engaged and a country being at war. This country has not been at war for 25 years. We have not been fighting for the American homeland for 25 years.
Yes, we haven't. That's true.
Right.
We haven't had a war
Right.
on our shores. We've been picking on third world countries halfway around the world.
Well, you haven't been randomly picking. In Afghanistan, you went...
I didn't say it was random.
Yeah, right, okay. It wasn't like you suddenly decided to bomb Myanmar or something. You went to Afghanistan to find bin Laden and take revenge for 9/11 and stop an attack like that happening again on the American homeland. That is very different from a country being at war.
Yeah, but
Having-
that's a
having-
total mischaracterization of the war in Afghanistan. It's one thing to say that might be an accurate characterization of the special operations mission in late 2001, but then we
Say,
fought. Then
yes,
we fought a
but then
20-year
you-
regime
yes,
change war against the Taliban.
Because you got dragged into the quicksand of war.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, fine. But
Fine.
I thought it wasn't a war. Like, what? I don't get
No,
your
I said
argument.
it was a war. It's your use of we, as if you're personally like suffering this war. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
yes,
a taxpayer.
when I say we,
we're
it
taxpayers,
implies-
so we
okay.
pay for it. Okay, fine.
Douglas, would
But,
you go,
I mean,
if I
like-
went back and corrected you on every time you've used the term "we" to refer to your government or something like that? Like if I were to say, "Oh, we
It's
just
fine,
imposed
just
tariffs on China,"
it's
would
just
you point out that
take
I
it-
didn't,
you
and it was the
take
Trump
it-
administration?
I'm saying you take it obviously very personally, and that's your right to do so. Of course. I'm just trying to make sure we're accurate.
What do you think I'm taking personally?
Just that, with American wars.
Sure, yeah. I think
Yeah.
they've killed hundreds of thousands of people and cost my country $8 trillion and
Sure.
and degraded my country very much.
And there's a very good argument to make on that. I'm still slightly bemused about this move from I'm an expert on this and I have views to I'm a comedian.
I've never claimed to be an expert on anything.
This is the problem, Joe. I mean, if somebody
Wait a minute,
says
you have to claim to be an expert on something to have an opinion on
no,
something?
you don't have to be. You don't have to be. But
So what's
this is
the
like
issue?
I'm not a historian, but I'm pumping out history.
But wait a minute,
I'm
what
not
about
an expert,
just-
but I'm talking all the time about
But
this
you're not
thing.
even talking about specifically on what he just said.
No, I'm saying this is my point about this. You say I'm not an expert.
So what's the solution? To not talk about it?
No, it's to have more experts around.
Well, the expert
to
class
hear-
hasn't done a great job,
I
man.
know.
This is follow the science.
Absolutely,
Yeah, but you know what?
absolutely, I
Okay,
agree
so fine.
with
So
that.
during,
I just said
okay,
to you, I agree
right,
with that.
Right, I know.
But
so
one
Douglas,
of the problems
during
is,
all of COVID,
fire away.
I will put my track record against any of the expert class on COVID. I'm glad to do that. So should I have just shut up? Should I have shut up by opposing lockdowns and opposing vaccine mandates and talking
Well, that
about
was
the
the
lab leak
argument at the
theory?
time. You realize
That's
that,
the
right?
entire argument that you're making. Let the experts handle
I'm
this.
not. No.
You're not an expert.
You're
I was. You're right. I was just a
you're
comedian.
wildly not listening to what I'm saying. I think you have to take. I think we should agree, perhaps, on the following: that one major thing can break down in front of your eyes, or many major things, and it does not mean that every single one of the sewer gates should be lifted. Okay?
Yeah, I get that. But
Right.
Who's saying it should?
Saying this is the chatter on what is part of our side at the moment, is that a lot of the sewer gates are being lifted. Sometimes by people who know that they're doing it, sometimes by people who don't, sometimes by people who say, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. But at the very least, there's some damn hygiene that should be required, isn't there?
yeah, I'm not sure
Right.
exactly what you're asking, but sure.
Just that. Let's have a bit of hygiene on our own side, not lift every sewer gate.
And when you say
Not
our own side,
let-
you mean the right wing broadly speaking?
Broadly speaking, and I'm sort of funny about libertarians. I'm never quite sure. I always say I think libertarians are essentially the bisexuals of politics. They should just choose, Joe. They should choose. It's kind of they just want everything at the buffet.
That's very funny.
Well, I think we want something. I don't know. Okay, that's a weird way to put it, but I get
see your
your point. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Look, I mean, essentially, I just don't. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. But if your argument is that, like, you're saying I claim to be an expert, but then I have like a parachute to get out of it by being like, hey, I'm just a comedian. Who's just saying this. But I don't think I've ever like really claimed to be an expert. I
Why
have
are you
opinions
going around?
on things.
I know, but but
Because
if
I'm
you're
interested
not,
in these topics.
I know, but isn't it weird to go round? For instance, let's get to the last year. It's a bit weird to be simultaneously saying I'm not an expert on a conflict and talking about it everywhere.
I don't think so. Not really. I mean, I don't know. I don't think like
don't know.
I don't see how you
Do
can't
you
have an
talk
opinion
about
on
these things?
Which thing?
All these things that we're talking about.
Some of them, yeah.
Are you an expert
I am on some, yes.
on some?
But you talk
not.
about some that
But
you're not
some
an
are
expert on.
You'll
Right,
notice
so
that I
what should you
didn't
do?
just. You'll
What
note-
should you do if those subjects get breached?
Well, I think that you educate yourself as much as you
Shouldn't
can.
you say I'm not an expert and then give your
It
opinion if you're
depends.
in the middle of a conversation?
I think it's, as I say, I think that it's a weird move to say, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to talk about it non-stop. I think that is.
Listen, I will certainly concede that I am weird. So I'm not disagreeing with you. It's weird that I'm as obsessed with all this stuff as I am. I mean, like, okay, I'm a weird guy. I tell jokes at nightclubs and then get obsessed with politics and monetary policy and like, okay, fine. But I just like fundamentally disagree with this idea that, which I really do think is quite anti-democratic.
More definitely and effectively than we did. It's the same with Lebanon. It's the same with Lebanon.
I don't-
America doesn't even have eyes over Lebanon. Iran has an army that has a checkpoint at Beirut airport that will check you on behalf of Hezbollah when you come in there. You can't tell me that America is, just because America's on paper and much more has the power, that America is the deft operator in the Middle East. There are so many people who outwit America in the Middle East all the time.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that there hasn't been an impact from the $8 trillion that we've spent there and the multiple regime changes all around the Middle East that were done by America. These weren't just going to happen on their own. Are you saying that didn't have an impact?
Iraq was certainly done by America, of course.
Okay, so Iraq was certainly done by America. Libya?
NATO.
Right, but NATO is the European wing of the American empire. I mean, let's get real. That's an American decision. Right, I'm saying it's not because some random
By the way,
European
let's
country
just also
decided.
go back, just because I mean the Libyan intervention I was pretty iffy about at the time, but that was done not to create an empire or anything like that. It was done for one very clear reason. I remember the debates in European capitals and in Washington D.C. at the time. There was a belief that after the uprising against Gaddafi began, that there would be a mass sort of genocide carried out by Gaddafi against the people.
We're talking
rebels.
2011?
And it was 2011, yeah. There was a belief, everybody believed it. He had started his son, if you remember, Saif Gaddafi, formerly of London School of Economics, showing him produce the best. Saif Gaddafi stood up and said, "We will fight to the last bullet," and so on, and everybody believed them. And the desire to intervene was caused in an attempt people did not want the resources of Libya. Nobody wanted Libya to fall apart or anything like that. They did it because there was a genuine belief in what was called at the time, which has gone out of fashion, but right to protect.
Okay. Well, then riddle.
And that
well,
was why
okay.
they went in.
So okay, if that's
So it's
why,
just important to keep
no,
that
it's interesting.
sort of nuance
It's interesting.
around.
I don't think it's correct. I mean, you always kind of like ascribe the best of motives to Israel and the West, and nothing but the worst of motives to all of their enemies. So just riddle me this then. If we just went in because there was this uprising in 2011, and because we were worried that Gaddafi was about to go genocidal, something that the UK Parliament did an investigation into and found out was just completely wrong. But why is it then that I got 4-star General Wesley Clark, Supreme Commander of the NATO forces? Why is it that he told me that he saw the plans in 2001 to overthrow Gaddafi, and that this was part of a strategy to overthrow 7 governments in 5 years, and all of them except one have been done at this point? So you're telling me it's just complete coincidence that he saw that the neoconservatives had this plan to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi, and then 10 years later we happened to do it when we had the opportunity? The two aren't related at all?
First of all, it's nice to hear the N-word again.
The N-word? Did I say that?
Conservatives.
Oh, that one. I was thinking of a different one. Okay.
First of all, I would hope that there's American military planning for absolutely everything. I would hope that there is a scenario for absolutely everything somewhere in the American Pentagon.
Yeah, but he didn't say we're drawing up war games. He said this is the plan that we're going to input.
I would assume that. I would hope that any major power like America would have plans in place for almost everything that is likely, including America could have, should have started planning for some kind of kinetic force in Libya from the 1980s. Of course, they'd be.
Yeah, but again, this is not what Wesley Clark said. He wasn't saying like we've drawn up war games. We've drawn up war games with everybody. We have war games with China, war games with Russia. We've mapped out how a kinetic war would work, even with countries that have nuclear arsenals. Like just in case we have to fight a traditional war and nukes aren't being used. That's not what he's talking about. He said that not only he was told we're in Afghanistan now. This is late 2001. He goes, next we're going to Iraq. After that, we're going to Libya. After that, we're going to Syria, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran. He laid out the path of what we're about to do, and then we did it. In the next administration, you don't think there was any connection between those two? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you go look at the list of 7 countries, it was Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya. I believe Somalia, Sudan, and Iran, I believe.
Who wants to do it?
Well, what he said is that essentially these plans, he said later in an interview with Piers Morgan, that he had seen the plans at first in 1991, that they came from Paul Wolfowitz, that basically then they got, what's funny about what the 4-star general said? No, well, I'm just curious, what's laughable about this?
Paul Wolfowitz is a great figure for almost any conspiracy, because the Deputy Secretary of Defense is the highest in life. He is forever being ascribed almost supernatural power.
I don't think anyone's
the highest position he ever got to was Donald Rumsfeld's deputy, and. It's a very strange thing always when Wolfowitz's name comes up, because he was a relatively low-level person to whom almost everything could be ascribed.
Well, I didn't describe, again, this is
anyway,
such a straw man. I didn't ascribe everything to him. I'm literally telling you what
anyway, go on.
No, I'm telling you what the 4-star general said about him. And I wouldn't say Deputy Secretary of Defense is like a nothing position. It's a pretty consequential position.
Not as important as Rumsfeld or Cheney.
Yeah, agreed. But who said it was? I just feel like you're batting down straw men. I never said that he is the creator of all conspiracies or anything. I'm literally saying that the four-star general said that he first saw the plans from him, that he had brought this to the National Security Advisor, and it had basically been like, we'll look at this after the election, and that then it was resurrected later by Richard Pearl, and that these guys were producing. Again, not me saying this. This is four-star General Wesley Clark. He said in a study paid for by the Israelis. And yeah, you can laugh at this all you want to, Douglas, but you can go read the clean break memo for yourself. This was the neoconservative strategy, along with their counterpart, the Likud in Israel, that they wanted to remake the region in a way that, and I'm sure by their own justification, they believed that democracy would sweep the region and it would be better off for them. Nonetheless, they pursued this path that has ended in nothing but disaster. And I don't think that to say that in 2011 it was like a purely humanitarian mission to go overthrow Muammar Gaddafi, I do not think is right.
Well, first of all, before I get to the substance of it, why would they want the current situation in Libya?
Huh?
Why would they want the current situation in Libya?
Well, because they wanted Gaddafi out.
Why?
Well, okay, if you read the clean break memo, what their argument essentially is that you wanted to have regime change against the hostile surrounding Muslim countries.
But
Was Gaddafi not hostile to Israel?
to Israel, yeah, sure. But he was, I mean, the Europeans and everybody else in NATO found that Gaddafi was a really very easy person to get on with.
Right? Yeah, no, I think it was an
notice that
insane policy.
No, but you'll notice that after he hands over the nuclear program, and thus makes himself very vulnerable, unfortunately, for the future world peace, Libya has been unutterably disastrous.
Yeah, well, I'm
for
sorry,
Europe.
but-
Hang on.
No, just a clarifying
Unutterably
question.
disastrous for Europe.
I agree with you.
And Somalia and Sudan. Why does America or Israel want to like do regime change in Somalia?
Can I just ask you?
Sudan?
Can I just ask you a clarifying question on this? When you say that was a disaster for the prospects of world peace, you mean overthrowing Gaddafi was a disaster?
I say that him being. Sorry, I should have clarified. My thing is him being overthrown after he's given over the nuclear weapons, because it leaves on the table this thing that you have to hold on to nuclear weapons. If you don't hold on to nuclear weapons, you're dead.
Do you think maybe the Israelis should stop using the term the Libyan model to push for negotiations with Iran?
No, I don't think anyone should live what happened to Gaddafi being a good person.
Well,
But
we
hate
certainly have a lot of agreement there. It was an absolute disaster, particularly to do it, to let a guy get sodomized to death after he denuclearized is not a good precedent to set.
I agree, and that's one of the reasons why.
One of the reasons why
Assad
Iran wants a nuke so
hung
bad.
on and I'm not sure it's so nice to death, but yeah, they want a nuke because they. I mean, if you like what the Iranian Revolutionary government's done since 1979, love what they'll do with the world when they've got a nuke. But anyway, put that aside for a second. I mean, I'm sorry, we slightly come back to where we started, but when you start talking about Paul Wolfowitz and Richard Pearl, it's all awfully noxious. Richard Pearl was a member of the Defense Policy Board, which had an advisory capacity for the Pentagon in the early 2000s. But it was by no means a policy board that dictated.
You were eating something. I don't know what it was.
I think that is the first thing we have to make legal. We've got to get Trump on mushrooms. Just get him to have a little microdose. He'd be like, I'm really killing the game. You are killing the game, sir.
My wife is
These
hot.
mushrooms great.
Yeah. God, that'd be crazy to heal a mushroom.
Oh my God.
So open it
Every
up.
politician should be on mushrooms. All wars would end. Do you know how crazy that is for me to say that, and it's also true? It sounds so stupid, also because it's me and I'm stupid. But if like a scholar, if someone who you really trusted, the pinnacle of science today, said if we could just get the whole world on mushrooms, all the wars would stop.
It's definitely believable.
Everyone would stop dehumanizing people. Everyone would stop treating people like others. Everyone would realize, like, oh wow, we're really all connected in some bizarre way that's difficult to interface with sometimes. But we're all connected. We get selfish and we think about ourselves only. But if we cannot, that's like one of the beautiful things about camaraderie and community. If you cannot, then you all sort of like lock in. You realize like, we're all experiencing this thing together. we're all like one thing that's separated by biology. But our soul, our spirit, our whatever it is that is us inside of our meat bag is a soul. It's connected to all the other souls in some strange way. And if you can figure out, it's almost like you're listening to it's almost like there's jackhammers going off around you, but you hear a really good song in the distance. God, I can almost hear that song.
Almost beautiful.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you ever been at a restaurant, everybody's talking, but there's just some jam is playing on the radio. And you're like, God, I want to hear that song.
Yeah, just a Marvin Gaye
That's
seeping
what
through.
it's like. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
I think there's different strategies that people use to try to get there, and I think God is one of them. Like even the concept of God, I think what you're trying to do is to get to that place where you recognize, like through strategies of like tactics of following commandments and having a mindset and giving all your faith to Jesus and all your faith to like just by act of doing that, what you're doing is you're trying to get closer and closer to whatever the fuck that beautiful, beautiful song is that's playing amongst all the noise. Because you know it's there. It's just, you hear down there, down there, down there. Oh man.
Yeah. No, I remember, I don't know who this comic said this, but it was great. I always talk about this joke. But he said how people think they're Americans or Chinese or whatever, but we're all on this planet. Like, just zoom out. Yeah. Whatever you think you are, just zoom out a little bit.
It's a trap. It's just like the
trap.
Republican-Democrat trap. It's just like the Texas-California trap. Shut up. We're all just people. We're all people. And that's one of the beautiful things about traveling. You meet friends in Scotland, you meet friends in Ireland, you meet friends in Australia. You're like, people are just people, man. We're just all people. We adapt to whatever our environment is. We adapt to the culture, the way people sound their words out, you know?
Yeah.
You want to fit in. If you want to fit in, you move to the South and start saying y'all. You know? You said y'all yet?
Oh, I say y'all.
When did you start?
But I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I'm a little southern
so
boy.
you've always had, you've always had a y'all pass.
yeah, I've been a y'all.
I was born in New Jersey and I'm mostly Italian. For me, y'all is a stretch. I don't want to be disingenuous.
Does it ever come out of you? Never?
For funsies. Yeah, but it never accidentally comes out. Like, y'all gonna go? No, I'm 57.
Yeah.
I say you. Are you guys? It's like, what are we doing? Like, accents are weird, man. You don't realize you have them until you hear them. And you're like, why do I sound like that?
And it's impressive when you see people who can do them.
I didn't know I had a deep Boston accent until I was on television for the first time. When I was 19, I won the Bay State Games, and I was on this, like, local TV news thing, and I got a chance to hear myself on TV. I was like, oh my God, I sound like a fucking idiot. Like, what is it? Like, heavy Boston accent.
Yeah, you don't have it as bad.
I got rid of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a dumbass accent.
But then you started talking to everybody with a million different accents on the pod, so I'm sure
know,
you've heard all the different
you
versions.
get neutral after a while, I think. Your voice gets neutral.
But you're not all the way like newscaster neutral, where it's just that, and now, that kind of shit.
The opposite of comedy, right? Because that doesn't hypnotize anybody.
Oh, no.
When that guy's talking the news, like, this is a presentation from NBC News.
Yeah.
Look at my tie. Look at the pocket square.
I'm serious.
I am a serious person. Most of those guys are freaks. That's what I love when those guys get caught. Oh, yeah. Those guys are just doing coke and banging
Just
hookers
in a
and
harem of gay men. It's insane the
punching
things they do.
valets. They're animals. These guys are. But on television, I present the news. Meanwhile, they're wearing a cock ring. Fucking freaks. All those people that pretend to be proper. Those are the ones you gotta keep your eye on.
Yeah, they never have real opinions either. It's all just whatever. It's just a job.
Bill Cosby was the guy who pushed the most for clean comedy.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Is it though? Like scolding everybody for their language and their subject matter. God. He was scolding.
That Eddie Murphy bit is so good, though, when he told Richard Pryor that Bill Cosby, he's like, you making money? Yeah. Are the people laughing?
People laugh?
Yeah.
Do you get paid?
Yeah.
Tell Bill to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
That's one of the greatest jokes of all time, dude. It's so good.
Well, it was so good, too, because Eddie Murphy could do such good impressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the accents.
He's another one. Like, this is stop doing comedy. Like if Eddie Murphy would have been bigger than all of them. All the arena acts we were talking about before, Eddie Murphy would have been bigger. Bigger. Bro, he was so good. He was so powerful. Go back and watch Delirious. Oh my God, he was like 20.
Hey, that's what's crazy. Whenever I do watch Delirious, I'm like,
He was like 20.
and he's got full command of this, what, 4,000 seater, 5,000 seater?
Wearing a leather jumpsuit or some shit.
Chest out. Fucking abs out, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah. This is crazy. But it's interesting, like people, the path they choose in life, you know?
Movies be calling.
I think it's called Velvet Prison.
Yeah, I've heard you say that to Hassan once about writing jobs. That's a velvet prison.
That's another Velvet Prison. But like, I'm sure Damon Wayans had a good time making all those TV shows. But wouldn't it have been amazing to see him being this guy that's like selling out arenas all over the world? Like that's where it should be.
And he would still be doing it right now.
He could do it right now. He could just abandon all that TV nonsense right now and go back to it. Still be one of the best alive. You know, that guy records like every show. He has a camera that he takes with him on a tripod, sets it up, records every fucking show, and he puts them all on his computer. He goes, I've been doing this since '94. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
That's so many and how many specials he doesn't have?
No, there's not a lot of specials.
Yeah. Compared to other guys where you see
Not
some-
compared to how good he is.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just, you know, someone's paying you, you go, you enjoy your work, you like it. You know, there's nothing wrong with those decisions. And he's
Yeah.
obviously very successful. But, you know, when you gotta think, like when you see guys like Schultz selling out arenas and Bert selling out arenas and Tony selling out arenas, it's like, don't you want to do it on Like, come on, man. Talk to me, David. I'll help you.
Oh my God, that'd be sick to see him make a comeback.
Yeah, I'd love to see him do that. I just think after a while, do you really want to work for somebody? You really want to show up and, you know, read the script, do the tape. I mean, do you want to do that?
No. I love just showing up 8 o'clock. Oh man, get up 4 or 5 times in a night. Oh, there's nothing. I love it. I mean, the idea of doing some stuff seems fun, but to make it my, I saw Seinfeld say that. He was like, man, we have one of the few jobs where people want this job.
Yeah.
How many, like, very rarely do I see it. I don't know. There's no job where I'm like, oh, I'd really like to be that.
Yeah.
This is the job.
It's one of them, that's for sure. Rockstar's probably the big one.
Rockstar's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
But I don't.
See, the
at least-
Rockstar thing, they could sing the same ass song every night forever.
Yeah.
Like if you're the Rolling Stones, you can still sing Brown Sugar. Nope. Can't sing it anymore. Can't sing that one.
No, wait a minute.
They don't sing Brown Sugar anymore.
No, come on.
Bro, you ever see the lyrics of Brown Sugar?
What are the actual lyrics? What is it, Joe?
There's a reason why they don't sing it anymore. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong. It's still on my Spotify playlist. But I think I might have pulled it out. I might get scared. Wait till you see the lyrics.
That playlist is crazy long.
It's great. Yeah, the playlist.
Oh, man, we get turned up in there.
I usually do. I think that playlist is like 35 hours long now. Let me see.
You keep adding to it.
I keep adding to it. I love it.
Because every once in a while, I look up.
33 hours and 49 minutes.
Yeah. I love when we're in there, and then I'll be like, "Who the fuck is playing this?" And I look up, and he's like, "It's like, Joe, who got you on the Black Panther album?" Or whatever. You'll just listen to some random shit. Hey, who got you on this?
Oh yeah, I love a good random shit. Like if I'm in a bar and I hear some cool random song, I love that's why I love that Shazam app. Ooh, that's so nice. Here it is. Yeah, Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in a market down in New Orleans. Scarred old slaver knows he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around midnight. Brown sugar, how come you taste so good? Brown sugar, just like a young girl should. Yeah. Drums beating, cold English blood runs hot. Lady of the house wondering where it's gonna stop. Houseboy knows that he's doing all right. You should have heard him just around midnight. This song's horrific.
This song's crazy.
Brown sugar, how comes he tastes so good? Brown sugar, just like a young girl should. Oh yeah. Get down on the ground, brown sugar. How come you taste so good? Get down, brown sugar, just like a young girl should. I bet your mama was a tent show queen, and all her boyfriends were sweet 16. I'm no schoolboy, but I know what I like. You should have heard me just around midnight. This song's crazy.
He was fucking Mick Jagger was losing his mind.
This is a crazy
dude.
song. Just to write all this down, slave ship? Did you say slave ship?
Slave ship?
Just like a young girl ship. What?
Give me that brown sugar, you taste so
Sold
good.
in a market? What? And it scrolled down a little bit. This was another one that I'm not sure what they're saying here. Hold on. Go scroll down a little bit. Oh yeah. I bet your mama was a tent show queen.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What the fuck does that mean?
What is a tent show queen? What's a tent show?
Well, whatever it is, she's getting fucked.
Something horrible. is
Whatever's happening in that tent.
That song is crazy. So they don't play that song anymore when you go see the Stones.
You saw him. You've seen him live,
Yeah,
right?
bro. You see them live, you can't believe they're really there. You're like, is that really them? It just seems so strange. A tent show.
Yeah, they're probably one of the, if not, no, they're definitely one of the biggest bands of all time.
Tent shows are a generic term for traveling shows that pitch tents. So a tent show queen would have been a featured performer, probably in a vaudeville act. If the song is progressing forward in time, the fact that she had a 16-year-old's boyfriend suggests she's either extremely sexually liberal or more likely prostituting herself. If she's prostituting herself, the power dynamic is reiterated, a black woman at the mercy of paying white men. Huh? What kind of fucking scholarly take on this song is that? What is that? What do they say? This is so weird.
No, that's fucking crazy.
There's a weird definition.
Yeah, there's a website that gives you insight on lyrics. It's crowdsourced, but doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate.
Oh, I see. Because I'm reading this, I'm like, the power dynamic is reiterated. What? A black woman at the mercy of paying white men.
Yeah.
She advertises herself during the show and then sleeps on the side.
What is that?
I'm not,
Those shows, though, you ever seen any of those black box shows?
People used to be monsters. They were monsters.
Yeah,
They were
dude.
monsters. Carnies would come into town, these carnival people, and rob everybody and steal, probably murder. Just dirty people traveling around trying to stay alive and conning people out of their money. The bearded lady. She's got fucking glued hair stuck to her face. What did I pay to see?
They still do that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard of this place called The Box in London? And they have one in New York, too, but The Box?
No.
Schultz took me, this fuck.
She opened the door and goes, "You're too young," and slammed the door on him.
Oh, my God.
The next night, he did 10 minutes or whatever on how he can't pick up a prostitute in Lubbock, Texas. And I go, I'll never be this funny as long as I fucking live. Like, I've watched people going, amazing. And then I was running then with Bastille. That's when I was running with Bastille.
Frankie Bastille?
Yeah, I'll tell you
He's a
this
wild
story. I
fella.
think I told you this story. I've told this story, and it's been told, but I don't know if I told it years ago when I did this. And then I'll get back to it. I'm not self-sabotaging. That's what you were getting to in my head. Am I self-sabotaging?
No, not self-sabotaging. I don't think it's a self-sabotage thing. It's a not understanding the energy that you're putting out there and being accustomed to a certain result. Okay, if you're accustomed to missing, you're playing pool, you're accustomed to missing the 9-ball, you're gonna miss that fucking 9-ball every time.
What happens in golf, too?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It happens in golf.
Same thing. You gotta reset the way you think about things. And if there's something that's eating away at you, that bothers you, that occupies your thoughts, you have to figure out what that is and clean that up. Because that's a big part of the problem with a lot of people. A lot of the problem with a lot of people is maybe they don't like something about themselves, they don't like what they've done, they don't like, choices they've made, and that's in your head all the time. You're like, the lack of clarity, the lack of peace is in your head all the time.
Well,
And it's not this is not an easy thing I'm saying. I'm not saying this is like, okay, here's the real formula. Just go out, follow these 3 steps, and you're going to be rich and famous. It's not that. It's just that success generally happens when you've got as many pieces as possible in order correctly. And failure generally happens when you're overwhelmed by too many things that are not working right. And your attention and your focus is on them. You're divided. A lot of times you see it's like a terrible relationship. I've known a lot of really talented people that sabotage themselves with a terrible relationship. and they think somehow or another that this is just how relationships are, and they're terrible in that relationship, like, and then they can never be who they could be. They can never reach their full potential because they're always burdened down by these fucking squabbles they're having with their girlfriend or their boyfriend. You know,
Well, that's also too a God thing where you think I could fix this person or I could
Sure.
change him. No one can
that's
change
Brian
him.
Callen.
He went. Oh,
Brian Callen his whole life, I would
Yeah.
tell him, get out now. I'd meet
Yeah.
his girlfriend, I'd be like, get out now.
Uh-huh.
I met one girl that he dated, I literally within 5 seconds of saying hello to her, I go, come here. I pulled him aside. Cut to, okay? He doesn't listen. You know, later that night, like, she's drinking wine, she's fucking hammered. It's a disaster. Like, she winds up living with him, eventually figures it out, gets rid of him. A couple years later, he's walking on the street on Sunset, and she's streetwalking.
No.
Yes, girl he was living with at one point in time. This is Brian Callen. He felt abandoned when he was young, and so I believe I'm speaking for him. And so he's a sweet guy, and he tries to reach out and fix people.
Well, here's my Brian Callen story. It's very funny. I was middling for him at Caroline's, which will never happen again because Caroline's is closed. I'm middling for him. So I get off stage, and I'm single. This fucking smoking hot girl comes up to me, and she goes, come on, let's leave. Right? And I go, no, I got to sell my DVDs or CDs. I have to sell my DVDs or CDs after the show. I'm sitting there selling CDs, and I see Brian walk out with her right past me up the stairs.
up.
I fucked up, but maybe I didn't. Who knows?
Well, you definitely did because Bonnie's awesome. And
No, I wasn't.
it worked out for you in the long run. But it's, yeah, you definitely should have left with her.
No, I shouldn't have because that in life is where I was supposed to be at that time when I was there.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
No, you're
'Cause
correct.
anything
and
could
also,
happen.
what if she's a nightmare and then you miss out on the whatever $400, $500 you would have made selling DVDs?
Oh, I didn't make that much. I never.
100, 100, even 100.
No,
Now you're
I
going
don't-
to a nice restaurant and eating dinner. You know.
Who knows? Who knows? You know, it's this whole negative thing with my. And this isn't ego by any stretch when I say stuff like this. And my wife's, I know I've earned respect from my peers. I know it because I've
You
done
definitely
it
have.
from white to black comics that most white comics don't even know. You know what I mean? You know.
We did a lot of those rooms.
I did
back
all,
in the day.
yeah. I ended all those TV shows. I
Yep.
did them all.
Yep.
You know, please, I started black comedy. So, okay, you can only hold a white man down so long. So, and like, I think in life, I'm more about respect than accomplishment. You see what I'm
right.
saying?
So you more about the respect from your peers.
Not only my peers, the industry too, though. The industry doesn't know. Like, say some club owner, let's say a club owner. They're not sitting in the room watching your shows. All they care about are the fucking numbers that come in. They don't. I had a club owner once. I said to him, and you're lucky, you're way out of that. But I'm in that. So I said to a club owner once, I said, look, I'm as funny as I've ever been right now in life. He goes, that doesn't fucking matter. What does that matter? And it's all a quick fix. You
Right.
know?
They just want to sell tickets.
Sell ticket, and I get it. They got to keep the doors open,
Well,
but
that's the weird marriage between the club owner and the comic. You know, I used to tell comics, you know, we're not. Every comic feels like they're battling it with club owners. Like the club owner's never giving them enough money. The club owner's fucking them over. Lied about it being sold out. It was definitely sold out. I want my bonus. That kind of shit.
yeah.
You don't want to be a club owner. You don't. You don't. I mean, I give that advice and I became
Yeah.
one, but just by necessity. But I was like, this is an important relationship. Like, you got to be nice to them, and so they respect
Yeah.
you. And you should, because everybody in the beginning, you feel like you're ignored by them. But it's a weird thing because they're just in the business of comedy. Unless you
Yes.
get like Brian Dorfman and Zanies, he really loves comedy. You know,
There's
there's a few.
some ones.
Wendy from Comedy Works in Denver.
I'll tell you my Wendy story.
I love Wendy. That'd
I
be
don't
a good
know.
story.
It's you'll like it.
Okay,
Okay.
but my point is, it's like,
Well, Corey in Rhode Island's one of the best fucking nicest guys on the planet.
Rhode Island?
Yeah.
What's that one?
Comedy Connection.
Oh, yes.
Mark in Rochester.
Yeah.
To me, James in Governors.
The Comedy Connection in Rhode Island's weird because you're in a bank.
I know.
So
It's
strange. They
that's
turned
how
a
bad.
bank into a comedy
That's
club.
how bad the market's doing.
Well, that was in the 80s
Yeah.
they did that. That was when I was a kid.
It's such a. He fixed the whole thing up.
Yeah, it's
the
great.
whole camera system.
It's a great club. It was always a great club. Plus, there's not a lot in Rhode Island, so when you go there,
Yeah.
people are so happy to see you.
It's
Yeah.
It's my and I'm not bad mouthing Wendy. I don't know her like this.
Okay.
So I worked the club twice, and the second time I worked there was Halloween weekend. I mean, there was a guy in the audience in blackface. Whatever, So
Really?
yeah, this was I don't know 10, 15 years ago. I don't
10,
know,
15 years ago? You
10
could
years
wear-
ago. But wait a
Really?
second. So she wasn't even there the week.
Okay.
She tells my manager, I did a lot of crowd work, whatever. Yeah, go look. So anyhow, I'm working at Syracuse Funny Bone, and my middle, very funny guy. I think he passed away. He was an older guy, really great joke writer. He's from Denver. He goes, I do a podcast with Wendy. And he sees that I'm closing, and he goes, I'll talk to her. So I email Wendy. I go, hey, listen, why don't we start from scratch? Let bygones be bygones. Start over, whatever. I'd love to come back in. And she doesn't get back to me, so I write, by your lack of response, it looks like you want to move forward. Here are some available dates. Right? And she doesn't get back to me again.
Shocker.
And I write, can I bring my own middle? What do I care?
Right, it's over,
It's
right.
funny. I'm trying to be funny.
So she was just
Yes.
upset that you did crowd work? That's it?
No, well, the numbers were low, probably. It was Halloween weekend. But I work enough. And I'm saying, I'm not bad-mouthing any of these people, because you bad-mouth, you're the one who looks bad. I'm not bad-mouthing them. She's got a business to run, whatever she's got to do, just like any of them. They have a business to run. If this is who they're going to bring in to keep their doors open, I'll always find fucking work. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And industry-wise, I mean, now it's a whole, look, my wife is killing it because she's a writer and a comic, and, she's writing movies, she's punching out movies, she wrote for the Golden Globes, she has different outlets. No, that's cool.
Ask yourself this: who has access to your medical history? In theory, it's just you and your doctor, but in reality, hundreds of shady companies called data brokers are keeping tabs on every symptom you Google, every treatment you research, and every pre-existing condition they think you might have. That's valuable intel for advertisers and insurance companies who will take any excuse to raise your premiums. But there's a way to get your privacy back, and that is with ExpressVPN. With ExpressVPN, 100% of your online activity is rerouted through secure encrypted servers. This makes it impossible for third parties to invade your privacy. ExpressVPN also hides your IP address, which is the number used to identify you on the internet. Without your IP address, data brokers can't use it to track and sell your activity. Plus, ExpressVPN is easy to use. It just takes one click. And it works on all your devices, phones, tablets, desktops, even TVs, and on up to 8 devices at the same time. This is why ExpressVPN is the #1 rated VPN by the experts at CNET and The Verge. And the best part, podcast listeners can get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Rogan or by tapping the banner. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can get your 4 free months by scanning the QR code on screen or by clicking the link in the description.
God, when I quit cigarettes, I quit cigars because I was scared I was going to start smoking.
You probably would.
I probably would, because it would lead,
Yeah, you're puffing on tobacco.
Yeah,
You're going to want to inhale it.
That's why, I can't even put a dick in my mouth because I'm scared.
I understand.
You know that. So, she has different outlets as a stand-up. I'm just a stand-up. I'm a club comic. I I love, I do theaters, I do whatever, but I love doing, I really like doing clubs.
So it
It's
sounds
just-
like you're doing exactly what you want to do.
Yes, I'm
So what
doing-
the
yes.
fuck's the problem?
I don't think there is a problem, but I said just one more thing to put it over the top. Do you know what I mean? One more.
You're never totally satisfied with your
Well, that's a good point. Yes, I'm an addict.
Yeah,
You know.
maybe
So
that's it.
look, here's my fucking. Here's how fucked up I am.
How fucked up are you?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Sam.
As you glitter in diamonds.
And this is not in the morning. I drink my coffee. I sit at the table. It's all with me, and I put a bird feeder, and I watch the birds feed, and it's very relaxing.
Yeah.
Watching them all come and feed. It's very relaxing.
Right.
Okay. Now, I have 7 bird feeders around my property because I figured, well, this will be 7 times more relaxing watching
Oh, now you
birds.
got bird chaos.
No, they're all over. I mean, I got ones that with a video camera, I can see who's coming. The squirrel, I don't care if the squirrel is, but it's my addictive personality
Right.
where
You always want more.
a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a little more.
a
New
little
car.
more.
Different color. Same
Really,
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
one more ring.
One more ring.
One more
I
tattoo.
took 2 off. So it's, and I work on myself. I go to meetings 2, 3 a week.
Still, after all these years.
Yeah.
Do you still feel the pull after all these years?
No, I haven't got gambling to fall back on.
What are you gambling on?
What am I gambling?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once in a while, I'll play on my phone at night slots.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I did real well.
You made money?
Last year.
I gotta say, slots on your phone sounds like the dumbest fucking idea. Because there is no way it's not fixed. At least
Well,
a
no, it-
slot machine is random.
Well, slots in the casino is the biggest sucker bet on the
The
planet.
biggest sucker bet.
I'll play craps. If I'm going to gamble in a casino, I'm going to play craps like a man.
You know what drives me
But-
fucking crazy when I hear that someone hits the slots and they won't give out. They won't give the money. There was an error with the machine.
That's bullshit.
I've heard that
Yeah.
many times. Like, fuck your error.
This
Give
is-
that guy his money.
This is what I won last year on slots.
Let me see this. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I
How'd
got
you do
lucky.
that?
2 jackpots. Wow. But now I keep playing, think I'll get more. Think I'll hit the big one.
Yeah,
But-
well, that's how they get you.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I have a friend who's very wealthy and is a fucking degenerate gambler. Dana White. who
Oh,
knows
yeah.
him?
Oh, I see the
Degenerate.
videos.
Degenerate. He's a nut.
But
I was
just-
just reading an article about Hunter Campbell, who's the financial officer. Was like trying to talk to him, just saying, "Man, like, you're killing me. Like, why are you doing this?" He loves it.
Love that. It's there's shit that goes off in your head. Even when you lose, you're like, I mean,
Makes you feel like you're alive. Something's happening.
I was in
exciting.
Vegas, and I walked to the table with $300, crap table, and it's me, and the whole table is. I mean, I held the dice for almost an hour. 300, I turned into 5,000. The table's going nuts. I'm winning everybody. Formula and diapers at the table. They're fucking yelling, cat with a hat. And it's just such a, and then for the rest of the week, I didn't gamble again because I go, I can't follow that. I'm not going to be able to do that again. So it's not like I'm obsessed with it. Numbers I am kind of, but I've been to casinos and worked for 3-4 days and not even played. But when I do, it's like me, my wife and I were in Canada and we went to a casino. I go, well, let me go back to the hotel and put my credit cards and money there. She goes, you can't go into a casino with all your money and credit cards. I go,
How does she ask that question? She knows you.
yeah, I know.
She
but-
should know you can't. She's fucking with you.
Yeah, well,
she knows you can't.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
She should say good for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, she should say good for you. That's smart.
But she didn't know me when I was an addict.
Oh.
She never saw me when I was out there.
Yeah, but I guess I did. I knew you when you were an addict. But
Yeah.
but you cleaned up nice. You really did. You figured it out well. You really did. So like
Well-
she should know that.
Yeah. Not to go to the
Be a little bit
casino.
more
with-
supportive.
That's what I'm trying to say.
How about that, Bonnie?
You know what? That's what I'm trying to say. I mean,
You guys are one of the funniest couples of all time, though.
Thank
There's like
you.
a few, like Christina Pazitsky and Tom Segura, Natasha Leggero,
Oh,
Moshe
yeah.
Kasher. There's a few, like, people say like comics shouldn't date comics. Well,
Who else?
I don't know about that, because sometimes it fucking works really well.
What am I going to do? Come home to a dentist? And
Right.
for me,
Right.
we really come together when we find the same enemy and the same person we could trash.
Yeah.
Or we talk comedy, we make each other laugh. Yeah, we fight and have all the fucking, we're a
course.
married couple.
And your comics.
Yeah, and so
So you're talking shit.
well, to be a male comic, you got to be fucked up. To be a female comic, that's a whole nother level of fucking up. Because, they go on the road, they got to worry about everything.
They gotta
Or
worry about
females.
fans. Yeah, they gotta worry about fans
where they're-
attacking them.
where they're staying,
right.
what it's like.
Getting
It's tough.
stalked. Oh, yeah, it's horrible.
And thank you for saying we're funny. Yeah, we're together.
You guys are very funny. It's
Thank you.
like, I always use it as an example because comics will say all the time, don't date comics. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because, like, why not? I don't think you should never date blur. Although I stopped dating Italians when I was 21.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the last one swung at me. I was like, I'm done.
Well, I only dated
As she was swinging, I was like, I can't believe she's swinging at me. Like, while this was happening, her arm was pulling back. It was coming towards my face. Like, I can't fucking believe this is happening.
Well, I only date Irish. Like, I can't afford a Jew broad. So I went fucking Irish. I'd rather go to fucking Marshalls than Barney's.
Well, also, like, well, the thing about Jewish women, the stereotype is that they're very controlling.
Yes.
It's like how the mom is. It's like you take that role of like the mom of the house, then your wife becomes your mom. That's the stereotype.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's always that way.
Very little nag.
Little nag.
Yeah. And I mean, look, fucking Bonnie grew up on a farm killing chickens.
Perfect.
She's fucking.
She's good for when the revelation comes.
And not only that, I have running water. They had they slept on the floor. She grew up like I did,
Yeah.
poor. And we started dating. I mean, I was already in the business for I don't know how many years. It's like they say don't date comics. Yeah, well, if you're a new comic and they're a new comic, it's going to be competition the whole time. It's going to be jealousy. But I was already established and she was established.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It could be, but it doesn't. Like these like hard fast rules, they don't work. It all completely depends on the individual. I mean, how different are comics? Like, how different are you to Shane Gillis? How different am I to Ari Shaffir? Like, we're all different. Even though we're all real good friends, there's no hard rules.
No. I luckily came up with one of the strongest crews in New York.
Oh, you came up with an amazing crew.
From
Patrice,
Norton, Billy, Bobby, Colin, Kev, Will, Kevin Hart.
It was an amazing crew.
Our crew and, Bonnie.
Bro, I knew you back when you had Joe Coast.
You knew me when I was doing Robin Gibbons bits.
That's right.
You don't remember, you might remember, we were working a one-nighter